The neighbor's window was not screened. On a windy day, their child climbed onto the windowsill and was teetering dangerously. I yelled at him to go back inside. He listened, turned, and started crawling back, but on the way, he accidentally knocked over a flower pot, which fell and killed a pregnant woman passing below. When the victim's family demanded compensation, the child's parents shifted all the blame onto me. He was playing just fine up there. He's not stupid. Why would he jump? If you hadn't startled him, he never would have kicked the flower pot. If someone has to pay with their life or money, go to her. It has nothing to do with our family. Not only that, but the family also pushed me onto the windowsill and demanded to know if I would be foolish enough to jump down. I slipped and fell from the 12th floor. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to that windy day when the child next door was climbing out the window. This time, I decisively drew the curtains and shut out the outside world. I was startled awake by the loud smack of the window banging in the wind, and the first thing I did was look down at my body, seeing my intact limbs and feeling my whole head. I realized I had been reborn. At this moment, I quickly ran to the window and looked next door, and sure enough, I saw the neighbor's kid, Sun Yangyang, peeking his little head out from the unenclosed balcony. This scene was the beginning of the tragedy in my past life. The pain of being shattered to pieces still seemed to linger in my body, and I instinctively grabbed the curtain beside me. Next door, Wan Yangyang had already leaned half his body out. The strong wind blew, making his body sway left and right, which looked very dangerous. In my past life, when I saw this dangerous scene, I was so anxious that I shouted across the way, "Yangyang, it's too dangerous for you to do that. Get inside now." Sun Wangwang didn't listen to me at first. He just rolled his eyes and made a face. "Stupid woman, none of your business." Although he was only 7, he had always been the little bully in the neighborhood. He not only liked snatching toys from other kids but also enjoyed sneaking up behind adults to throw stones and hit them once. He even cracked an old man's head open. To make matters worse, his parents were both overprotective and utterly unreasonable. Not only did they refuse to compensate the old man, but they falsely accused him of hitting Sun Yangyang and demanded that he pay them instead. The old man got so angry that he had a heart attack. Fortunately, he was taken to the hospital in time, so no greater tragedy occurred. After that, everyone in the neighborhood, adults and children alike, would rather take a detour than run into Sun Yangyang's family, but the situation was urgent, so I couldn't afford to take issue with him. I kept shouting at him, "Yangyang, be good, get back inside, or you might fall." I shouted several times, but he wouldn't listen. Instead, he inched closer to the edge, and it looked like he was about to fall any second. I quickly thought of something and said ingratiatingly, "If Yangyang goes inside, I'll buy you a toy." "Okay." He thought for a moment. The lure of the toy finally made him nod, and he turned around to crawl back inside, but at the very last moment before he got back into the room, his foot accidentally kicked a flower pot off the ledge. At the same time, a woman's scream came from below. I looked down and saw that the flower pot had hit a pregnant woman passing by right on the head. She passed out on the spot, bleeding from both her head and her lower body. Terrified, I quickly called 120. Unfortunately, due to excessive blood loss, the pregnant woman could not be saved. Both she and her baby died. The pregnant woman's family stormed into Sun Yangyang's home, demanding compensation. I never expected that Sun Yangyang's parents, in order to avoid compensation, would falsely accuse me, claiming that I startled their son, which caused him to kick over the flower pot. I explained the situation to them, emphasizing that I was trying to save Sun Yangyang and that my tone had not been harsh at all, but they refused to accept this and said, "He was playing up there just fine. He's not stupid. Why would he jump? What need was there for you to save him? You scared him and made him knock over the pot, so you must take full responsibility." I was so angry at their unreasonable behavior that I firmly refused to take on their liability. To my surprise, they flew into a rage, dragged me into a corner, and the whole family beat me together. Even Sun Yangyang, the boy I had saved, kicked and hit me while laughing heartily. Good hit, so much fun, hit her, hit her. They stomped my hand hard into the ground, broke my leg, ruptured my internal organs, and left me trembling all over in pain. They still wouldn't let me go. They dragged me to the windowsill and demanded to know if anyone would be foolish enough to jump off on their own, but at that moment, weakened by the pain, I lost my grip on the windowsill and fell backward. From the 12th floor, I crashed heavily to the ground, my brains splattering everywhere. Just before I died, I had only one thought: if I could do it all over again, I would never meddle in other people's business. To my surprise, I was actually reborn. The fierce, venomous laughter of the neighbors next door still seemed to ring in my ears, and hatred surged within me. Seeing Sun Yangyang climbed farther and farther out, I decisively pulled the curtains shut. This time, I want to see if Sun Yangyang really isn't that foolish, whether she'll actually jump too. After drawing the curtains, I felt uneasy. In my past life, it was because Sun Yangyang exaggerated to his parents, saying I shouted at him, that made his parents set their sights on me. When their family beat me, he certainly did his share. Being weaker, he specifically aimed for vulnerable spots like my eyes, so vicious at Such a young age, so not only did I refuse to help him, I also wanted to see his fate with my own eyes, so I hid behind the curtain, lifting a small corner to observe Sun Yangyang's situation. Just as he had crawled entirely outside the window, he was holding the frame and preparing to stand up. The weather is bad today, with strong winds blowing constantly. Just as he was about to stand up successfully, a gust of wind swayed him from side to side, making him look as if he might fall at any moment. He finally steadied himself, a smug smile appeared on his face, and he turned to call his mom. "Mom, look, don't I look just like Ultraman?" As he shouted, he let go of his hands and struck Ultraman's signature pose, but his mom was in the living room playing mahjong with her friends and simply had no time to pay attention to him. When he didn't get an answer, he turned back and shouted many more times, "Mom, look, look, please look." In response came a thunderous roar, "You little shit, are you asking for a death wish? Can't you see your mother is busy? I'm just one towel away from a ready hand. If you make another peep and make me lose this round, I'll smash your head in." The windows of our two apartments are very close, and theirs is unsealed. Through their window, I could see the living room as clearly as if I were inside. Wanli, his mother, didn't even look up, fully absorbed in the tiles in her hand, but Sister Yang, who was playing mahjong with her, noticed Sun Yangyang and screamed in fright, "Oh my god, how did Yangyang climb out the window? That's so dangerous. Shaoli, get Yangyang down right now." As she spoke, she stood up, probably intending to go and bring Sun Yangyang back inside, but the moment she got to her feet, Wanli pulled her back down. Wanli was probably unhappy with the tiles she had drawn, and replied to the older woman in a somewhat irritable tone, "Hey, what's all the fuss about? This little rascal of ours just can't stay still at home. He's either rummaging through this or that. I'm used to it. Come on, let's play cards. Ignore him. I'm definitely going to win back what I lost earlier this round." Sister Young was still very worried, but that window isn't screened. What if he falls off while climbing around? The other two people playing cards also thought she had a point and urged Wanli to go get Sun Yangyang down. Wanli said nonchalantly, "He's young, not stupid. If he sees danger, why would he keep staying there? He'll definitely come down on his own after playing for a bit. Oh, just leave him alone and focus on the game." Hearing his own mother say that, the other three didn't feel they could say more and sat back down to play cards. At that moment, Sun Yangyang was still shouting, "Oh, I'm Ultraman. I'm going to fight Mommy the monster and beat you to death." As luck would have it, just as he finished shouting, Wanli set off a winning tile, and the player who won started demanding she pay up. She reluctantly handed over the money, then turned around and took her anger out on Sun Yangyang. "You little brat, daring to say you'd beat your mother to death. Seems like you've lived long enough. Always Ultraman this, Ultraman that. Why don't you just take Ultraman as your mother? If I ever hear you say Ultraman again, I'll burn all those Ultraman toys of yours." Sun Yangyang burst into tears and cried, "You big monster, you're so mean. I am Ultraman, and I will beat you to death." Wanli was so angry she laughed, and said, "Ultraman can fly. Can you go on, fly if you've got the guts. Just fly away and be done with it. Better than staying home all day acting like some curse." Sun Yangyang wiped his nose with his sleeve in defiance. "Fly, then, watch me." The next second, he struck Ultraman's flying pose, leaped with both feet, and really flew down. The incident happened so fast that Wanli was stunned by the scene before her eyes. Only when the three people by the table screamed and ran to the window to look down did she come to her senses. She rushed anxiously to the window, but her legs were so weak with fear that she stumbled and fell several times along the way. Only when Sister Young hurried over and helped her up did she make it clumsily to the window, leaning against the frame to look down. After just one glance, she burst into heart-wrenching wails. "Oh my god, my Yangyang, how could you be so foolish? It's so high up, how could you really dare to jump?" Her wails were like a stuck pig, harsh and grating, but they brought me a deep sense of satisfaction. In the past life, she was the one who goaded them into pushing me out the window. In this life, she goaded her own son into jumping out the window. I have to say, that's true retribution. And in the past life, they said Sun Yangyang wasn't stupid. Why would he jump on his own? Now it turns out, Sun Yangyang really was that stupid. Only after savoring Wanli's agony did I look down. Sun Yangyang's body below was exactly the same as mine in the past life, brains and blood splattered everywhere, just a bloody mess from afar. But surprisingly, there was another person lying beside him, who looked like the pregnant woman from the previous life. My heart was pounding with shock. I thought that without my interference in this life, the pregnant woman would be able to escape this disaster. Could it be that this time, instead of a flower pot, Sun Yangyang had fallen and hit her just the same? While I was still reeling from the shock, I heard Wanli next door open her door and race frantically down the stairs. Only after she disappeared into the hallway did I open my door, call 120, and slowly make my way downstairs. I called 120 because I didn't know the pregnant woman's condition. If there was still a chance to save her, I didn't want to waste too much time. I walked down because I wanted to get a closer look at the person who killed me in the previous life, and see how agonizing her suffering would be in this one. By the time I rushed to the scene, a large crowd had already gathered, my first thought was to check on the pregnant woman. Seeing her lying on the ground with her eyes tightly shut but otherwise unharmed, I felt a bit relieved. It seemed she had probably been frightened into fainting after witnessing Sun Yangyang fall right in front of her. Wenli had already pushed her way through and was kneeling beside Sun Yangyang, wailing in agony, "My Yangyang, don't scare mommy like this. Get up. Please, you can't be in trouble if something happens to you. What will mommy do?" Sun Yangyang lay there covered in blood. It was impossible to tell if he was alive or dead. Gone was his usual naughty and annoying demeanor. He looked very pitiful. Those who didn't know them would only feel distressed at the sight. Although the neighbors generally had a poor opinion of Wenli's family, everyone still felt sorry for them when this happened. Some of the closer neighbors took the initiative to call Sun Dejuan, Sun Yangyang's father, to explain the situation and urge him to come back quickly. Unexpectedly, as soon as the neighbor finished speaking, a torrent of ugly curses came through the phone. "Damn you, Lao Lu, your son is the one who fell from a building. I thought you were my friend, but you cursed my son like that, you vicious bastard. Your son is the one who fell. Your whole family fell. Let me tell you, if anything ever happens to my son, it's your curse that caused it, and you'll damn well pay for it." Lao Lu, who had only meant well, was instead being blackmailed by him, leaving him both angry and anxious. But after glancing at Sun Yangyang's miserable state, he ultimately decided not to make a fuss over it and handed the phone to Wenli to speak. Wenli was crying hysterically, utterly distraught. When she saw it was her husband calling, she latched onto it like a lifeline, shouting desperately, "Honey, come back and save Yangyang." Only then did Sun Dejuan believe what Wenli had said, and he started cursing her furiously. "You stupid woman, were you playing mahjong at home again and didn't keep an eye on our son? Is there anything you can actually get done in a day? You just wait. When I get back, I'll beat you to death to be buried with my son." Wenli hung up the phone, trembling. Perhaps she was remembering why Sun Yangyang had jumped, and fear set in soon. The sound of the ambulance grew closer and closer, arriving at the same time as the ambulance was Sun Dejuan, his face dark with menace. For the moment Wenli saw Sun Dejuan, her face turned pale, and she instinctively stepped back a few paces. Sun Dejuan finally squeezed through the crowd, glanced at Sun Yangyang twice, made no effort to check if he was still alive, and then began to curse loudly. "You wretched woman have ruined my son. I've been working my ass off out there, and you can't even take care of a child. What else are you good for? You've done this to our son. How dare you stand here crying? Why didn't you jump down with him?" Wenli flinched at his roar, her body trembling visibly. It was no wonder Wenli was terrified. Sun Dejuan chased her down and beat her every few days at home, and I often heard her screams. When I first moved in and heard her being beaten, I even called the police for her. In the end, she told the police that she and her husband were just flirting. Since the victim of domestic violence herself denied it, the officers could only give her a verbal warning and then leave. As soon as the police were gone, she knocked on my door and hurled insults at me, saying that beating and scolding are acts of love, and that my insistence on calling the police meant I couldn't stand seeing her loved by her husband. She accused me of being twisted and ruining her happiness. I was so furious that later, when I heard her being beaten again, I simply ignored it. In my past life, I had rushed to help her out of compassion, forgetting that her family had always repaid kindness with resentment. Sun Dejuan was still cursing, while Wenli cowered in a corner, trembling and stammering, It wasn't my fault. Yangyang jumped off on her own. No sooner had she said that than Sun Dejuan suddenly lunged and kicked Wenli hard in the chest. "What the hell are you talking about? Yangyang isn't stupid. Why would she jump off on her own?" Wenli was knocked to the ground and couldn't get up for a long time. Sun Dejuan was about to lunge forward to strike again when the neighbors, unable to stand by any longer, stopped him. "Stop fighting. Let's check on Yangyang first." Blinded by rage, Sun Dejuan turned his anger on a man who was holding his arm, and threw a solid punch right into the man's face. "Why the hell are you stopping me? You sleeping with this bitch or something? You two adulterers. Did you scheme together to kill my son? I'll beat you to death." Suddenly saddled with a huge and false accusation, the man's face darkened. He let go of Sun Dejuan and said in a huff, "Which of your eyes saw me having an affair with your wife? Talk about no good deed going unpunished. I'm done. Let everyone else stop holding you back. Go ahead and fight. It's your family matter. We should mind our own business before we get dragged into the mess." Seeing this, the others dared not stop him either. Sun Dejuan was still going after Wenli, but stopped when he saw the doctors and nurses carrying a stretcher up to Sun Yangyang. After examining Sun Yangyang's body, the doctor regretfully shook his head at Sun Dejuan. "I'm sorry, but the child no longer has any vital signs." Struck as if by lightning, Sun Dejuan gripped the doctor's arm tightly and kept shouting, "That's impossible. Check again. You haven't even taken him back to the hospital for resuscitation. How can you just say my son is dead? Are you even responsible or not? Take him back. Use that thing, you know, the electric shock thing they use on TV. On TV, lots of people are dead but get brought back with a jolt, don't they?" The doctor winced as Sun Dejuan tugged at his arm, but patiently explained that the cardiac defibrillator wasn't that miraculous, it was only meant for patients with certain arrhythmias and wouldn't work for Sun Yangyang's condition. Moreover, Sun Yangyang had fallen too severely and already showed no vital signs. Even divine intervention could not save him, but Sun Dajuan refused to listen and insisted that the doctors take Sun Yangyang back to the hospital for rescue. The doctor had no choice. Likely out of humanitarian concern, and prepared to carry Sun Yangyang back to the hospital. I remembered the pregnant woman still lying nearby and quietly reminded the neighbors around me. Only then did the neighbors notice the pregnant woman with the large belly still on the ground, and they shouted loudly, "Doctor, there is also a pregnant woman who has fainted over here. She looks to be in bad shape as well." Just then, that pregnant woman also woke up and cried out loudly in abdominal pain. 5. The doctor saw that bleeding had already started between the pregnant woman's thighs, and the situation was indeed unfavorable, so he decided to save the living first, and immediately instructed that the pregnant woman be lifted onto a stretcher, while saying to Sun Dajuan, "The child indeed shows no signs of life. We will help notify the police station, and the officers will handle the aftermath. We need to save this pregnant woman first. Any further delay and her life will be endangered." Sun Dajuan, seeing that they were not going to save Sun Yangyang, refused to let them leave. "No, she just bled a little. It's nothing serious. How could that be worse than my son's condition? Do you not understand the difference between urgent and minor matters? My son can still be saved. Refusing to treat him on purpose would be killing him. I can sue you for manslaughter." The doctor felt overwhelmed. Hearing the pregnant woman's cries growing louder, he decisively pushed Sun Dajuan aside. "Family member, we understand how you feel, but the child has already passed away. We must focus on saving those who are alive." Others around also tried to persuade Sun Dajuan. "That's right, Yangyang's father. Yangyang is gone. Please accept our condolences. Xiaochen's belly is this big, and she's bleeding. She looks critical. Don't stop the doctors from saving her. If you delay any longer, the baby might die in the womb, or you could lose both mother and child. That would be a terrible sin. Yes, right now we should save the living." Sun Dajuan was absolutely furious. "I don't give a damn whether she lives or dies. In my eyes, my son is the only thing that matters. All of you are just looking up to that woman because her family has money and you think you can bully us, saying things like that. Have you no conscience? I'm not backing down today. If you don't save my son first, then we'll all wait right here. If my son can't be saved, she's not getting out alive either. She saw my son fall and didn't even try to catch him. She deserved to die." Talk about a family that twists reason. Never mind that the pregnant woman was so scared she passed out on the spot. Even if she hadn't, she wasn't obligated to help save his child, and let's not forget, she was a woman about to give birth. By now, Wanli had also come to her senses and was throwing a tantrum, rolling around in front of the ambulance. "Exactly. If she had just caught my son, would he be in this state? It's all her fault. She just stood by and let him die. If my son dies, she's going down with him." She is quick to shift the blame onto others. Everyone was speechless with anger at the couple's vexatious behavior. Some who couldn't bear to watch any longer spontaneously went to lift the pregnant woman onto a stretcher. Seeing this, Sun Dajuan walked over, pushed aside the neighbor who was helping, kicked the pregnant woman, Xiaochen, to the ground, and then added 2 more kicks. "You don't faint early or late, but just when my son falls down, then you play the victim and ask everyone to save you instead of my son. A woman as vicious as you doesn't deserve to live. I'll make you be buried with my son." A neighbor close by rushed to help Xiaochen, but he brutally shoved them away. His eyes locked onto everyone present, and he roared, "Let's see who dares to save this wretch today. You wouldn't save my son, so I have nothing left to lose. Let's all die together." Xiaochen clutched her belly, crying out in agony. The neighbors he had shoved were furious and still tried to help, but Sun Dajuan punched each of them. They were hot-blooded too and immediately started brawling with Sun Dajuan. When Wanli saw her husband being hit, she lunged like a madwoman and started fighting with the neighbors. I took the chance to remind the doctor and others to quickly get Xiaochen onto the ambulance. Sun Dajuan and his wife wanted to stop them, but the neighbors held them down, leaving them unable to move. Sun Dajuan howled like a mad dog, but it was no use. He could only watch helplessly as the ambulance drove off with the pregnant woman. Meanwhile, a police car passed the ambulance and drove toward them. 6. As soon as Sun Dajuan started causing trouble, I called the police. The police struggled to separate Sun Dajuan, his wife, and their neighbors, who were brawling. Sun Dajuan, still looking resentful, kept cursing under his breath, while Wanli occasionally chimed in. It was only when the police asked how Sun Yangyang fell that Wanli looked guilty, her eyes darting nervously. As she stammered, he jumped himself. "It has nothing to do with me," but her guilty look was as good as shouting. A protest is a confession. Sun Dajuan suddenly flew into a rage again, slapping her across the face and demanding, "How did Yangyang end up climbing on the windowsill by himself? Were you so busy playing mahjong that you weren't watching him again? And even if he got up onto the windowsill, he wouldn't have jumped. It's so high. He's not an idiot. Did you yell at him again? Scare him?" Wanli was too guilty to look him in the eye. which only deepened Sun Dajuin's suspicion. He raised his hand, ready to strike again. At that moment, Sister Yang couldn't stand watching anymore and stepped forward to persuade Sun Dajuin. Dajuin, stop hitting Xiaoli. She didn't want this either. Yang is her child too. She's just as heartbroken about what happened, so don't blame her anymore. Wang Li's eyes lit up when she saw Sister Yang speak up, pointing at the people who had been playing mahjong with her and the other two. She said, "See, it's not my fault. It's all their fault. They saw Yang climb onto the windowsill but didn't warn me. That's why he fell. Honey, it's their fault. You should hit them instead." Sister Yang was so furious that her whole body trembled. Pointing at Wang Li, she said, "I was trying to help you out, but you turn around and bite the hand that feeds you. Do you have any conscience left? We did warn you, and we told you to get Yang down, but you said it didn't matter, and even provoked him, telling him to fly for everyone to see. That's why he jumped." The other two, terrified that Wang Li might falsely accuse them, quickly nodded and recounted what had happened at the time. Sun Dajuin's eyes were about to burst with rage after hearing them, while Wang Li shook her head desperately. "No, they're lying. They're just trying to dodge responsibility by ganging up to frame me." Then she turned to Sister Yang and said, "If you've got proof, show it. Why should anyone believe you just because you say so? For all I know, you're the one who encouraged my son to jump." Sister Yang was choked with anger, but faced with such an unreasonable person and indeed lacking evidence, she stomped her feet in frustration. "I have proof." Everyone turned around as I stepped out from the crowd, holding up the surveillance video in my hand. When Sister Yang mentioned it, I remembered that I might have installed a camera outside my window. I checked it, and sure enough, the truth is exactly as Sister Yang said. Speaking of this surveillance camera, I have Sun Yang to thank for it. Our windows are close to each other, and he often throws stones at my house, breaking several of my window panes. When I confronted them, Sun Dajuin tried to deny it, saying, "Do you have any proof my son did it? If you've got evidence, show it. If not, don't spout nonsense in front of me." So to catch him in the act, I installed this surveillance camera outside my window. Since the house isn't soundproof and their windows aren't sealed, the surveillance footage clearly recorded Wang Li saying, "Ultra 7 can fly. Can you? If you're so tough, go ahead and fly." Wang Li tried to shift the blame. "Yes, I said that, but I was angry at them at the time. If they hadn't come asking me to play mahjong, none of this would have happened. When it comes down to it, it's really their fault. The other three insisted they would not take the fall. Did we invite you? You invited us. We still have the chat logs, you know." Wang Li could no longer deny it, and with a thud, she fell to her knees in front of Sun Dajuin to confess her mistake. Sun Dajuin raised his hand to hit her, but was thankfully stopped by the police. The truth behind Sun Yangyang's fall from the building came to light, and the police contacted the funeral home to take the body away. Sun Dajuin was taken away by the police after getting into a fight with his neighbor Wang Li, crying as she ran, chased after him. 7. Sun Dajuin was detained for assault, but because the neighbor's injuries were not serious, and they were kind-hearted enough to sympathize with his recent loss of a son, they all provided letters of forgiveness. As a result, he was released after just a few days in detention. The pregnant woman, Xiaoqian, reportedly had a delayed treatment. Although she herself survived, she lost her baby. Although it is unfortunate, compared to losing both mother and child in her previous life, this is already a blessing in disguise. While Sun Dajuin was detained, Wang Li retrieved Sun Yangyang's ashes. Every night, she cried and raised a ruckus at home, one moment lamenting her bitter fate, the next cursing Sun Yangyang for being foolish. Her noise kept me awake. I complained to the property management several times and even called the police twice, but to no avail. She was so unreasonable that the police could only give her a verbal warning. There was little else they could do against her. Unable to bear the disturbance and unwilling to continue being their neighbor, I started looking for a new place to live. Before I could find a new house, Sun Dajuin was released. After his release, their household became even noisier. Wang Li was beaten by him every night, screaming in agony like a pig being slaughtered, her cries disturbing the entire building. Some kind colleagues couldn't bear to watch, so they called the police just like I used to, hoping to help Wang Li. But when the police arrived, Wang Li insisted that all her injuries were from falling off her electric bike. The police had no choice but to leave. Wang Li then stood at the door cursing the person who called the police, saying they had nothing better to do, were meddling like a dog catching mice, and that everyone was trying to harm her dear husband. After that, the neighbors stopped getting involved, letting her be beaten nearly to death, unable to leave the house for half a month. When Sun Dajuin finally cooled down a bit, the couple planned to go to the hospital to demand an explanation and compensation. Their exact words were, "We've raised Yang for all these years, spent so much money, and now that he's gone, all that money has gone down the drain. We need to find someone to compensate us for our losses." Since Sun Yangyang jumped to his death because of Wang Li, they had no one else to blackmail, so they targeted the hospital, demanding 1 million in compensation on the grounds that the doctors hadn't saved Sun Yangyang in time. The doctor on duty at the time had already reported the situation to the hospital, which naturally refused to be the scapegoat. Sun Dajuan and his wife then gathered a group of relatives to protest daily at the hospital with banners, accusing the hospital of negligence and of treating lives like grass. Someone filmed the disturbance and posted it online, and it instantly became a trending topic on social news. Reporters and some marketing accounts and self-media outlets swarmed to the hospital, riding this wave of online attention. Sun Dajuan and Wenli wept pitifully in front of the cameras. Our Yongyang was such a good child, he accidentally fell from a height. He could have been saved at that time, but the doctor at this hospital, with no medical ethics at all, didn't even take one look at Yongyang before saying he couldn't be saved. Ignoring Yongyang in such a critical condition, the doctor turned away to save a pregnant woman who had nothing wrong with her, and in doing so, let my son die. We have no idea who that pregnant woman was, some big shot perhaps. We ordinary folks don't dare offend anyone, but if we, as parents, don't stand up for our son, who will care about his death? Our fight with the hospital isn't really about money, it's only to get justice for my son. Not a single word he said was true, but his acting was genuinely good. Netizens who were unaware of the full story online had already formed a preconceived belief just from watching that segment of their performance. After all, people's hearts naturally tend to lean toward the side that appears to be the weaker party. Some netizens with a strong sense of justice dug up Xiao Chen's family background on their own and found out that her father-in-law is a leader at the health bureau. This led netizens to indulge in all sorts of speculations and conspiracy theories, claiming that it was Xiao Chen's father-in-law who ordered the hospital to abandon Sun Yongyang to save Xiao Chen instead. The doctor, along with the hospital and Xiao Chen's family, became the target of online harassment. 8. Matters involving powerful figures abusing their authority are the hardest to defend against. No matter what the hospital or Xiao Chen's family says, netizens will believe that powerful forces are manipulating things behind the scenes, and they won't trust their words. So, even though the hospital issued a statement immediately after the incident, clearly explaining the situation at the time, netizens were not convinced. The incident escalated further, under strong pressure from netizens. The doctor on duty was temporarily suspended, and Xiao Chen's father-in-law was also suspended pending investigation. Meanwhile, Sun Dajuan and his wife quickly registered a social media account and started live streaming every day, openly declaring that they would not stop until they received compensation from the hospital. Their live stream attracted more and more viewers, many of whom sympathized with them and sent them tips. Within just a couple of days, they even began selling products during their live streams. Their explanation to netizens was that they needed to earn money to hire a lawyer and fight to the end against the hospital and Xiao Chen's family. This reasoning struck a chord with the public, and many began placing orders in their live stream as a show of support. The netizens thought they were being righteous and kind, but in reality, they were being used by the couple. That evening, Sun Dajuan and his wife looked at the withdrawal amount on their phones, grinning from ear to ear. Wenli added, "If I'd known these netizens were so gullible, we would have started live streaming earlier to make money. With so much cash, how are we even going to spend it all?" Then she grew sentimental again. If only Yongyang were still here. With all this money, he could buy whatever toys he wanted. Sun Dajuan gave her a hard smack on the head. "Are you stupid, woman? If Yongyang were still here, could we have made this much money? Come to think of it, his death was a good thing. It brought us good fortune." Wenli nodded. "True, that naughty boy wasn't worth missing anyway. He used to say he'd beat me to death. He's gone, so be it. Now that we're rich, we can have another child, a more obedient one." The two of them chattered loudly at home about buying a big villa and traveling everywhere. Not a single plan involved hiring a lawyer to file a lawsuit. They live streamed for a month and earned a lot. Sun Dajuan soon tipped delivery of a BMW, and Wenli began wearing all kinds of designer brands. The organization where Xiao Chen's father-in-law works has released the results of its investigation. Xiao Chen's father-in-law has always served with integrity and has never abused his power for personal gain. Within 10 minutes of the results being released, Sun Dajuan and his wife rushed to start a live stream where they played the victim and falsely claimed hardship, guiding netizens to question the investigation's findings and hinting that the organization was covering for its own. But before their live stream ended, another video about them surged to the top of trending searches. The video was a compilation of several clips: Sun Yongyang throwing a stone at a window, Wenli provoking Sun Yongyang into jumping off a building, Sun Dajuan unreasonably preventing Xiao Chen from getting on an ambulance, and the couple calling netizens fools at home, saying Sun Yongyang's death was a good thing. These videos were posted through social media influencers by Xiao Chen's husband, and the source material, of course, came from me. It's their own fault for being so foolish. They knew I had a surveillance camera outside my window last time, yet they still dared to discuss things loudly at home, letting me capture their greedy and hypocritical behavior in perfect detail. Xiao Chen's family lost their child because of them, and then suffered online bullying. There's no way they'd let them off easy, so we hit it off right away, and soon this video appeared online. Xiao Chen's husband bought a lot of bots. which quickly pushed the video to the top of the trending searches. Major marketing accounts also reposted it one after another. The online comments began to turn around. From the video, the doctor did seem to perform a very professional examination. There was no possibility of Sun Yangyang surviving a fall from such a height, and the pregnant woman, with her belly so big, was startled into a threatened miscarriage, which was indeed a critical situation under these circumstances. I don't think the doctor made the wrong call exactly. On the other hand, the Sun family is really hard to side with. The father and son seem like violent psychos. The mother is both dumb and malicious, shifting blame everywhere. I'm with the doctor on this one. If he hadn't blocked them from saving her, maybe the pregnant woman's baby could have been saved. Does that count as killing? It does. Didn't you see he also kicked the pregnant woman several times? Sun Dajuan and his wife were still putting on a pity act live streaming, unaware that their reputation had already been ruined. What they didn't expect even more was that within half an hour, the police showed up and took away the bewildered couple. 9. The police were called by Xiao Chen's family, accusing Sun Dajuan and his wife of attempted murder. Having witnessed the arrest of Sun Dajuan and his wife with their own eyes, netizens finally came to their senses, believed the hospital and Xiao Chen's family, and realized they had been used by the couple. So they turned against them one after another, seizing the opportunity. Xiao Chen's husband started a live stream in the hospital room, recounting Xiao Chen's harrowing experiences over the past few days. This enraged netizens, who banded together, also called the police, and reported Sun Dajuan for fraud. Thanks to the video I provided, the police quickly filed the case due to the significant social impact of this incident. The trial proceeded swiftly. A few months later, the police announced the verdict for Sun Dajuan and his wife Wang Li. Sun Dajuan was sentenced to 7 years in prison for intentional injury and fraud, while Wang Li, as an accessory, received only 2 years, suspended for 2 years. All the money they earned from live streaming during that time was confiscated, and they were additionally fined 500,000 yuan. Wang Li did not go to prison, but because she could not pay the 500,000 yuan fine, the court enforced the judgment and auctioned off their house. After the house was auctioned, Wang Li stubbornly refused to move out, locking herself inside all day, and gradually became mentally unstable. Every night, a shrill scream came from their home. Yang, don't come looking for me, you jumped yourself, it has nothing to do with me, don't come near me. Not long after, she also jumped from the unsealed windowsill, landing exactly where Sun Yangyang had died. The day after she jumped from the building, I found a new place and moved out. Later, I met some very nice neighbors in my new neighborhood. One of the neighbors had a little boy about the same age as Sun Yangyang, but unlike Sun Yangyang, he was not only very polite but also very helpful. When he saw I couldn't carry all my packages, he would help me carry them. I would occasionally give him small gifts, and he would thank me happily. His parents would also come by with little things to express their gratitude. Because I helped Xiao Chen's family at a critical moment, Xiao Chen was very grateful. After being discharged from the hospital, he kept in touch with me, and gradually we became friends. She told me about Sun Dajuan's recent situation. While in prison, Sun Dajuan often stirred up trouble and got into fights frequently. Once, he beat another inmate into a vegetative state, and his sentence was extended. Given his personality, it's anyone's guess whether he will cause more trouble in the future. Anyway, there's no telling when he'll get out. Xiao Chen also told me some good news. She's pregnant again. Seeing the happy smile on her face, I felt both joy and a touch of emotion. In our past lives, both of us came to a bad end because of Sun Yangyang and his family. Given a second chance, we've finally made the wicked pay as they should, and the best of our own lives is still yet to come. The end. Story 2. I met up with an online friend, but because I didn't reply to my best friend's message, she reported me as a missing person. I angrily confronted her. Who replies to messages at 5 a.m.? We were just talking at 2 a.m., and just because I didn't reply for 3 hours, you called the police. My best friend apologized to me, but then turned around and posted online seeking advice. My best friend met up with someone and went silent at a bar. I was worried and called the police, but she got mad at me. Did I really do something wrong? Countless people praised her innocence and kindness, yet they spread malicious rumors accusing me of hooking up for casual sex. But I was just attending a concert with fellow fans. Later, I developed depression from cyberbullying and ultimately took my own life. Meanwhile, my best friend became a famous influencer, secured graduate admission without exams, and started dating my boyfriend. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself transported back to the eve of my first offline meeting. This time, I unleashed a torrent of heated confrontation directly at my best friend, stirred awake by the ping of my phone. I blinked to find myself in my cozy bedroom. I checked my phone. The date glaring back at me was the day before I was supposed to meet my online crush in person. I can't believe I've traveled back to the day before my first date with Spring. Just then, a caring message from my best friend Sasha popped up on my phone. True to form, she was being thoughtful as ever, persistently asking about my flight time tomorrow. My gaze fell on the last message. Darling, you must keep in touch with me regularly. You're all alone in another city, and I'd be so worried if I couldn't reach you in my past life. Reading her messages like this would move me to tears. My heart would swell with joy, thinking how incredible it was to have a friend who cared for me even more than my own parents. I cherished her deeply. Whenever my parents bought me something, I'd always make sure to get a share for her too. From luxury handbags to Yangqing Lake Harry crabs for Mid-Autumn Festival celebrations, I shared everything I had with her. Little did I know, beneath her kind exterior lurked a viper's heart. In our past life, she built her perfect best friend persona by draining me dry, then rode that manufactured image to internet fame. I became the target of online bullying, and my life was shrouded in darkness from that moment on. Hatred festered within me, and as a plan took shape in my mind, I coldly typed out a few words. Okay, sweetie, I'll check in with you every hour for sure. Wouldn't want my bestie worrying about me. I used the exact same tone as in my previous life. I still decided to meet my online friend in person after packing my bags, though. I snapped a photo and sent it to Sasha, then I collapsed into bed and drifted peacefully to sleep. As I fell asleep, a smile lingered on my lips. I was so excited to finally meet them tomorrow. I can't wait to drag my bestie Sasha into the same mess I went through in my past life. The next day, I woke up naturally without an alarm. It had been ages since I last slept so soundly. Ever since the day I was cyberbullied in my previous life, nightmares had haunted me every single night. In the dream, I begged them to let me go, but those faceless phantoms just bared their fangs at me. Who told you to give in to loneliness and hook up? You've strayed from virtue. Compared to your best friend, you're nothing but a slut. Gathering my thoughts, I picked up my suitcase and headed to the airport. Before boarding, I made sure to snap a photo and send it to Sasha. I also took photos of the fan-made merch I prepared for my fellow fangirl friend and sent them to her. Hey bestie, just made it to the airport. She replied almost instantly. Got it, honey, stay safe out there. Time flew by, and I spotted a familiar figure the moment I stepped out of the airport. The girl was wearing streetwear from our favorite idol's fashion line. I recognized her instantly. I rushed over and gave her a joyful hug. Spring, I finally get to see you. I was genuinely happy at that moment. In my past life, I went drinking with Spring at a bar that night, then stayed up late playing Honor of Kings at her place. Even though I was gaming until 2 a.m., I still remembered to text Sasha to let her know. It all happened because I overslept past 5 a.m. and missed Sasha's call. By the time I woke up, Sasha had already called the police, and my parents were at Spring's doorstep. They even brought officers along with them. My parents were relieved to see I was safe, and that the online friend I met was actually a girl. They didn't say much. It wasn't until they brought me home that the lecturing began. I got a safety lecture from both the police officer and my parents. I didn't get a chance to reply to Sasha until the next afternoon. I've always thought it's completely absurd to report someone missing just because they didn't reply to a message at 5 a.m. during the holidays. I couldn't help but complain when chatting with her. You don't need to be so worried. I know how to take care of myself. Besides, you know me better than anyone. I would never meet up with strange men. But then Sasha immediately sent a sorry, since she's my best friend. My heart softened right away, and I quickly changed the subject. Little did I know, the next thing I knew, she had cyberbullied me too. My itinerary was exactly the same as in my previous life. Went shopping with Spring and tried some local street food, hit up a bar for a casual drink in the evening, then caught a live music show. Without fail, I reported every single detail to Sasha. 2 a.m. I teamed up with Spring for some ranked games in Honor of Kings, and we ended up on an 8-game losing streak. I was so mad I started pounding my mattress, and Spring comforted me. All right, don't be upset. I'll carry you to victory tomorrow. Spring is a pro at Honor of Kings, but I knew she only said that because I'm so terrible at the game, and she didn't actually want to play anymore. I'm absolutely furious. Stayed up until 2 a.m. playing Honor of Kings, and ended up losing 8 stars. I sent the game screenshot to Sasha. Bestie, I'm so mad. Got completely wrecked with a 1-to-8 KD ratio. Sasha, who's always so attentive to me, suddenly went radio silent. I let out a cold laugh and turned off my phone. Close your eyes and go to sleep. I set my alarm for 5 a.m., and even after staying up late, I forced myself to get out of bed, and sure enough, countless messages popped up on my phone. I immediately answered Sasha's call. Sasha, what's up so early in the morning? Dead silence lingered on the other end of the line, as if she never expected me to pick up. After a long pause, she said with faint concern, Vesper, I saw the photos you sent from the bar yesterday. I was worried about you. I replied nonchalantly. I left the bar before midnight. I was still playing Honor of Kings at 2 a.m. Didn't you see the message I sent you? Sasha froze for 2 seconds, then pretended to speak out of concern for me. Vesper, please don't be angry. I was just so worried about you. When the first 2 calls didn't go through, I called the police right away. Your parents are already on their way to the airport too. Vesper, what are we going to do now? They actually called the police after all. I gritted my teeth. Those 3 calls had only been minutes apart, yet she called the police immediately. Clearly, in this life and the last, she's always used false police reports to harass and sabotage me. I let out a cold laugh and fired back. Sasha, are you actually an NPD case? Your false police report has nothing to do with me. I'll explain things to my parents myself, you deal with the cops. I hung up and immediately dialed my parents. Where are you? My parents asked anxiously. I quickly tried to calm them down. I immediately woke up Spring, who was sleeping soundly beside me. Upon hearing my situation, Spring's drowsiness vanished instantly, and she addressed my parents in the gentlest voice. Don't worry, Uncle and Aunt, Vesper is at my place. We're good friends. She greeted my parents with the sweetest smile. My parents were absolutely delighted by her. I gave her a thumbs up, then I reminded them, Mom, Dad, if Sasha asks, just tell her you're already on your way to get me. I know I'm safe at Spring's place, but you know how she is, such a kind soul. If she finds out you're not coming just because we talked on the phone, she'll definitely worry herself sick. My parents always had a soft spot for Sasha. After a moment's thought, they realized I had a point. They agreed to my request and hung up. I slept soundly and woke up naturally without any alarms. Sasha didn't send me any more messages after that. She painted me as someone who fooled around with men at bars when talking to my parents. Given how strict my parents are with me, she must be thrilled to know they gave me a good scolding. But I was happily attending my idol's concert with Spring. Everything went perfectly smoothly until the day after we filed the police report. Sasha suddenly said to me, Vesper, could you tell the police you were actually hooking up with a guy? Here we go again, spreading rumors about me. I felt a surge of rage instantly boiling up inside me. My fingers were pounding the keyboard with extra force. Vesper, if you're actually safe and sound, the police will charge me with filing a false report. I could face detention and fines. Please, I only called them because I care about you. Besides, casual hookups aren't something to be ashamed of anyway. I was trembling with rage and flat out refused her demand. You're the one who panicked and called the cops just because I didn't reply at 5 a.m. Why should I take the blame for your paranoia? Sasha left my messages unanswered for what felt like an eternity. I knew she must be scheming something again, just as I expected. Sasha thought I was blaming her. 10 minutes later, she sent a simple sorry, and that was the end of it. She updated the post on her own account. I got to meet my idol with my best friend, took some gorgeous photos with my bestie. Her photography skills are next level. The local snacks here are absolutely delicious. I'm definitely coming back for another visit. I kept updating and constantly monitored Sasha's account. 2 hours later, Sasha's account posted an update titled Urgent Search for Missing Person Lost Contact at Bar. My worst fear has come true. Such a suggestive headline. In the post, she shared how her best friend went to meet someone from online, and how she'd been worried about her friend's safety, only to get blamed for it. Was she really in the wrong? The post went viral in no time. Dozens of comments poured in every second. 3. The top comment set the tone for the entire discussion. It read, what kind of decent girl goes to bars? She was asking for trouble. My best friend replied to this comment, no way, my girl is absolutely an innocent sweetheart. She would never do something like that. Crying JPG. That netizen shot back, honestly, you're the naive one here. You'd sooner believe she went to meet someone than believe I'm Chin Shi Huang. This was clearly a hookup. LMAO. OP, you're truly gullible. Your friend had her own needs to take care of. You called the cops and ruined her good time. Of course she's lashing out at you out of sheer embarrassment. She kept replying to every netizen spreading those vulgar rumors about me. I don't believe it. My best friend is a genuinely innocent person. She would never do something like that. But the more she acted this way, the more malicious speculation about me grew among netizens. Some disgusting netizens even started spreading rumors about me while simultaneously flirting with Sasha. Oh, you poor thing, your friend's already a lost cause, yet you're still defending her. You look so naive and silly. You'd make a perfect little wife for me. My bestie sent a pouty emoji. It gave me the creeps, so I quickly took screenshots to capture all those disgusting comments. Then I submitted them to a gossip account. The gossip account was lightning fast. Controversial keywords like bar, online friends, and meeting up quickly drew hordes of curious netizens. Sasha gleefully responded to those people, and her account gained hundreds of thousands of followers. Little did she know, the same people who lifted her up could just as easily tear her down. The buzz around friends turning on each other is absolutely explosive. It's so viral that by now I should have realized she's been spreading rumors about me online. So I forwarded the post to her and confronted her with a heavy heart. Sasha, why would you do this to me? I'm nothing Like what those comments are saying, Sasha replied immediately, "Sweetie, of course I believe you. They're just talking nonsense. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind right now. How dare they insult my best friend?" I watched as she responded to those hateful comments in a playful, coquettish tone. "How dare you talk about my best friend like that? She's the sweetest person ever. Nothing like what you're saying. You're just spreading lies." She replied to almost every person spreading rumors, but it didn't seem like she was defending me, more like she was egging them on, hinting that she'd share more updates later. Sure enough, those people started asking her if my best friend had gotten mad at me again. My best friend posted a new thread, sounding really upset. "I just wanted to know if I was in the right. I never meant to hurt her. Please stop attacking my best friend. She's furious with me, and I'm going to pay dearly for this." The wealth gap between us made people assume that I, the rich girl, would bully Sasha, and her pitiful demeanor perfectly fit those netizens' idea of what a good woman should be. Netizens comforted her one after another. "Don't worry, girl. If she dares to bully you, I've got your back. How dare that trash mess with my girl?" The comments section remained a toxic mess, completely contradicting the tone of her posts. Then, out of nowhere, she tagged my account in the comments. She added, "You bullies, my best friend is right here. Come and apologize to her now." Angry face. The moment I did that, hordes of netizens flooded my profile, hurling insults in my comment sections and DMs. The next second, my inbox was bombarded with countless comments and private messages. "You thirsty slut. If you're this desperate for company, why don't you come meet me in person? I'm way better than whoever you hooked up with. Give me a try. I won't take advantage for free. Name your price for the night. I'll cover the full amount." My account was flooded with countless vile comments, yet I calmly went to my profile bio and tagged my personal account where I document daily life updates account, at Vesper Shares. Sasha called me then, her voice tinged with apology yet unable to conceal her smugness and excitement. "Vesper, you know I never meant for it to go this way. Who knew they'd talk about you like that? I've made them all apologize to you now. Are you satisfied?" Suddenly she stopped mid-sentence, her voice trembling slightly. "Vesper, why didn't you tell me you had a secret account?" A faint smile played on my lips as I feigned confusion. "That's my personal account for daily life. I wanted to keep it separate from my main one since that's all university-related content. As student council president, the school administration asked me to create an account promoting our university's admissions. I turned my main account into an university senior advisor consultation platform. My account posts witty and humorous content, which has attracted many freshman followers, so I decided to dedicate my main account exclusively to freshman advisory services. Since then, I've rarely shared personal life updates, and in my previous online presence, that's exactly how netizens figured out I was a college student. They spammed the official university account demanding my expulsion. The university couldn't withstand the public pressure and had to revoke my position as student council president. They cancelled my scholarship and postgraduate recommendation eligibility. Instead of supporting me, Sasha used emotional blackmail to pressure me into continuing my studies. After I was diagnosed with depression, she moved into my dorm room under the guise of looking out for me, but when other students at school started pointing fingers at me, she just stood by and watched. That's how my depression kept getting worse. In the end, I attempted suicide in the dorm room. Sasha secured her graduate school spot because her roommate died. After death, I watched Sasha become an internet celebrity at a university. She started making content after getting into grad school, and now pulls in 6 figures annually. She clung to success by stepping on my corpse. A series of new message alerts chimed from her end. Sasha let out a sharp cry. The call was abruptly ended. I also opened Sasha's comment section. The latest comments still have people questioning, am I the only one who thinks the OP is trying to get netizens to spread malicious rumors about her best friend? Her friend was just meeting up with a fellow fan, not going on some hookup like the comments are suggesting. Something's off here. Your friend was still texting you at 2 a.m., and just because she didn't reply at 5 a.m., you think she's gone missing. Oh my god, I just saw my bestie's alt account. 2 adorable girls finally met up in person, and some troll had the nerve to spread rumors they were hooking up. How disgusting. I was chuckling while liking these comments when I noticed Sasha had started deleting them. Such a cheap trick. I immediately screenshotted the deleted comment interface, still submitted it to the gossip channels anyway. The plot twist was even more explosive than the explosion itself. Many netizens who came to cyberbully me discovered my alternate account containing records of my real-life meetups, but the reality wasn't what they imagined. They realized Sasha had been using them as pawns. They immediately turned their focus and started questioning Sasha. Sasha immediately deleted the comment from her main account that had tagged me. She then proceeded to remove every single comment that questioned her, but the more she deleted, the more it confirmed she had been spreading rumors about her best friend. And the internet never forgets. An outraged netizen posted on my behalf, "What's her problem? She left all those rumors about her best friend untouched yesterday." But the moment I questioned why she'd report someone missing after just 3 hours without a reply, My comment got deleted in seconds. At Sasha, I boosted that post's visibility. Sasha twists facts online for clout, not me. I just use cold hard cash to buy traffic. Public opinion has completely turned around, and Sasha can't bear to part with her account that's gained hundreds of thousands of followers. She messaged me, Vesper, I really didn't mean it. Could you use your account to clear my name? I was just so worried about you. I didn't say a word, just sent her screenshots of those disgusting private messages. Then I sent her screenshots of her flirting with those netizens who had privately messaged me. She knows exactly what I'm trying to say. Sasha soon posted a new apology, but my message to her had already turned into, Sweetie, I forgive you, but don't let this happen again. My best friend has already forgiven me, so you all can stop attacking me now. Many people who didn't know the whole story ended up dragging both of us through the mud. Your best friend must be a glutton for punishment if she can forgive this. Talk about being a doormat. They're made for each other. One likes to abuse, the other enjoys being abused. Both are hopeless, they deserve each other. Your friend stabbed you in the back, and now you're stabbing us netizens in the back. Just watch as Sasha turns public opinion around again. I immediately posted the complete chat history, but Sasha seemed to have a backup plan. Not a single person viewed the chat records I shared. An hour later, I discovered my account had been reported and silenced. Says who? I was utterly stunned. Finally understanding how Sasha had achieved such success in her previous life. She's a natural at social media, but I won't make the same mistake twice. She's got her tricks, but I've got the money. I created a new account and posted the entire chat history. We had 30 marketing accounts reposted and bought 100,000 impressions. I mimicked Sasha's passive-aggressive tone. I'm not posting these chat logs to prove anything. I just think it's wrong of you, sweetie, to Photoshop images and deceive people. The post blew up as expected, with netizens scrambling to follow the drama. Someone asked me why I didn't respond using my previous account. I replied, I don't know why either. When I saw Gue deceiving you all, I immediately posted about it, but my account got reported and restricted. Attached are the screenshots. This proves everything I've said is true. Netizens expressed an outpouring of sympathy for me. Now it's clear who actually stabbed whom in the back. Sasha's account is hemorrhaging followers. Her comment section is flooded with negative feedback, and those who previously spread malicious rumors about me were shamed into deleting their comments by outraged netizens. After she reported my account, netizens retaliated by mass reporting hers to give her a taste of her own medicine. I let out a derisive laugh. Her account actually got permanently banned for posting false information. That completely crushed Sasha's dream of becoming an internet celebrity. I felt a slight sense of satisfaction. The vacation is over. When I returned to campus, the online controversy had become the talk of the town. My main account already had a substantial following among freshmen. After this incident, my follower count skyrocketed. So many people recognized me around campus and greeted me, and pitied me for having such a vicious best friend. I shook my head helplessly, only to see Sasha rushing toward me from a short distance away. She dropped to her knees before me with a thud. Then she started kowtowing to me frantically. She kowtowed repeatedly while sobbing out her grievances. Vesper, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have worried so much about your safety and ruined your vacation mood. Please forgive me and tell them to stop the cyberbullying. A throbbing pulse at my temples told me the situation was more complicated than it seemed. The underclassmen who'd been waving at me suddenly let their hands drop. He subtly shifted away from me. Then my boyfriend Odin rushed out and started accusing me. Vesper, that's enough. Stop using your family's influence to bully Sasha. He helped Sasha up, his eyes burning with resentment. Don't think I don't know what you've been doing. You twisted the truth online, using Sasha as your stepping stone to fame. While she suffered from cyberbullying, you became an internet celebrity. Do you have any idea how much Sasha has been through these days? I stared blankly at my boyfriend, memories of my past life flooding my mind, but Odin said to me, You're utterly desperate. If it weren't for Sasha exposing your promiscuous nature, I would have been ruined by you. My boyfriend condemned me without hearing my side of the story, dumped me, and got together with Sasha. It wasn't until later that I found out they had been cheating behind my back. Soon a crowd gathered around us, encircling the three of us. Some people were already whispering, Did you hear about that huge scandal online? Turns out Vesper did it all to become an influencer. Seems legit. Even Vesper's boyfriend, the closest person to her, isn't standing by her. That just shows how deep this goes. I could see they were about to succeed in pinning the blame for the cyberbullying on me. I strode forward and slapped both Odin and Sasha across the face. Then I scattered the photos I'd prepared in advance right in front of them. I'd been preparing for this since my rebirth. Odin had once confided in me, tearfully complaining about being ostracized by his roommates. My heart went out to him. So I rented an apartment for him off campus. It wasn't until after I died that I found out he'd been cheating on me, flirting with chem girls online, having explicit video calls right in the dorm, until his roommate couldn't take it anymore and beat him up, and the apartment I rented for him became the very place where he slept with Sasha. A cold smirk twisted my lips. Are you putting on an act? One playing the good cop and the other the bad cop, trying to pin every dirty accusation on me. Did I force Sasha to post those rumors about me hooking up? The crowd picked up the photos, and someone gasped in shock. What is this? Are these bed photos of Odin and Sasha? Hearing this, Sasha stopped crying immediately and rushed to snatch those photos. It's all a lie, fake, AI generated and photoshopped. Sasha shrieked sharply. The person who picked up the photo quickly dodged away, but Sasha's sharp manicured nails still managed to scratch them. The man let out a piercing scream, blood gushing from the wound. The whole farce finally ended with Sasha being taken away by the police. I broke up with Odin. His face turned ashen, but when he heard I was cutting off his rent payments, no way. How dare you stop paying my rent? All those declarations of love were lies. You rich people just toy with us commoners. I'm so furious I could laugh. Odin's thought process is truly baffling. He cheated on me, and he still expects me to support him. Don't make me laugh. You got beaten up by your roommate for hitting on them, and you lied to me saying they were bullying you. I must have been blind to ever fall for a scumbag like you. Odin's face was covered in bruises, and he flew into a rage. Shut up, you bitch. Seeing his twisted expression, I still wasn't satisfied, so I slapped him across the face again. A furious Odin charged at me, ready to throw a punch, but the lingering bystanders held him back. What's wrong with you, Odin? You're a cheating freeloader, and now you're trying to hit a woman. A few students from the same school blocked my path. Odin fled in disgrace, and his reputation at school was completely ruined. Sasha was dealt with for both intentional injury and the previous false police report. This time, it resulted in a fine, compensation, and a 15-day detention. Finally got Sasha to quiet down for a bit, but that wasn't enough. She hasn't even suffered half the pain I endured in my past life. Then it hit me. I started a live stream and rushed to Sasha's dorm room. I took back every single thing I'd ever given her, from her closet, from her dresser, all of it. With each item I picked up, I explained the story behind it to everyone watching the live stream. This bag cost $160,000. She said she wanted matching best friend bags, so I bought one for her. This face cream, she complained about her dry skin. It's a limited edition, $12,000 a jar, completely sold out. She asked me to just hand over the one I was using. I hired a few college students to carry my shopping bags for me, and this box of hairy crabs, premium ones, costing 3,000 yuan for just 4, was meant as her mid-autumn festival gift. Oh no, it's empty. She must have eaten them. The live stream chat was flooded with comments like 666 and rich lady, please adopt me, when things were nearly tidied up, but Sasha came back to find all her belongings ransacked. Vesper, you thief, put everything down right now, fuming with anger. Sasha refused to hear me out and immediately started dialing the police with her head lowered. I didn't try to stop her when the police arrived. Sasha tearfully exclaimed, "Officer, she's the one who stole my things. Please arrest her right now." Sasha's gaze toward me grew increasingly venomous. She practically wanted me thrown behind bars on the spot, but I pulled out my purchase receipts and told the officer, "Sir, I didn't steal anything. These are all my belongings. I was just reclaiming what's rightfully mine." Given Sasha's history of filing false police reports, the officers wore expressions of weary exasperation. Sasha, let's not waste police resources. Meanwhile, the live stream was still running, and viewers in the chat were roaring with laughter, calling it the most satisfying revenge plot they'd ever seen. Seeing that all my belongings were packed, I turned and left without a second glance. Sasha broke down screaming, "You took everything away. How am I supposed to compensate them?" It suddenly hit me that she had injured someone and still needed to pay for the medical bills, but what did that have to do with me? I wasn't her best friend anymore. A thought suddenly struck me. Sasha, why don't you go find Odin? Isn't he your little fling? I gave her the key insight, and Sasha's eyes lit up before she immediately dashed out. The higher your hopes, the harder the fall. Odin's just a deadbeat who lives off my money. But within days, both Odin and Sasha came crawling back to me. They were trying to outdo each other, one sobbing more pitifully, the other swearing more sincerely. Odin said he was blinded by Sasha, but he actually still loves me. Sasha claimed Odin is a broke loser who swindled her out of money and took advantage of her. But do I really look that gullible? I blocked both of them. Good riddance to bad rubbish. But how could they possibly accept ending things like this? The moment Sasha was released from detention, she immediately started stirring up trouble again. She created a new account, holding up her ID card with both hands to publicly accuse me of cyberbullying her, and even shared evidence of me hiring influencers to spread rumors for clout. Meanwhile, Odin fabricated chat logs to falsely accuse me of cheating and hooking up with people. The two of them were going back and forth in their online performance. Since more than half a month had passed, a new crowd of onlookers had already taken over. The cyberbullying against me has started up again with a new wave. A netizen commented, "No one would use their own ID to spread rumors about someone else. So I believe about 90% of what the blogger said is true." Once again, my personal information was doxed, and that's when I received a call from an unknown number. Sasha and Odin's smug voices came through the line. Vesper, wire us 1 million right now, or we'll ruin your reputation online. University will expel a morally corrupt student like you, and your life will be over. So it was all about the money. Well, that simplifies everything. I was just worrying about how to finish them off for good. I saved the recording of the call log, then I started analyzing the video where they accused me. Such a clumsy move. Odin's chat history was clearly photoshopped. Sasha was right about us hiring marketing accounts to chase clout. That part's true. Back when I had her spread rumors about me hooking up, we hired tons of marketing accounts to amplify the buzz. Some of them ended up turning on us, but I also got marketing accounts to promote her posts at the time. Good thing I played it smart and never personally submitted anything to those marketing accounts. 5. So I immediately reached out to my childhood friend, asking them to help me contact some viral marketing accounts. Now they could help me clear things up. My friend quickly agreed and posted a response on their account. I'm just an ordinary bystander caught up in the drama. How can she keep twisting the truth? I originally submitted posts spreading rumors about her friend hooking up too, but when new facts came out, was I not supposed to share the updated story? My childhood friend then posted the complete record of their submissions to the marketing accounts. This quickly reminded some online bystanders of what happened before. I remember now. Sasha spread rumors that her best friend was hooking up with someone, but she was actually just attending a concert with a mutual fan. Sasha got her account suspended. How is she back online? She's so good at taking things out of context. The person clearly submitted posts to both sides, so I only picked the part where the best friend fought back and used it to spread lies. Once again, Sasha was so overwhelmed by the backlash from netizens that she broke down. When Odin saw Sasha fall from grace, he immediately jumped out to call me a slut. He spread rumors that I was cheating and hooking up, but then out of nowhere, a video surfaced of Odin having explicit video chats with a female influencer in his dorm room. I didn't even have to lift a finger. The rumors collapsed on their own. A video resurfaced showing Odin being beaten by his fed-up roommate after making obscene noises during a nude video call. Netizens cheered the incident, saying such vulgar people deserve to be taught a lesson. Odin and Sasha faced complete social ruin both online and at a university. Under mounting public pressure, a university decided to expel both Odin and Sasha. I watched calmly as Sasha and Odin met their fate, transferred them 1 million yuan at the very last moment, but by then they were in no state to celebrate. I had already called the police. As the police we're taking them away, the automated Alipay notification chimed. 1 million yuan has been received. It all seemed so comical at that moment. Back in the cell, Odin pulled another about face, sobbing and begging me to bail him out. I nodded and immediately called his parents to arrange his release. I'd heard about Odin's parents. They were notoriously strict with him, but the more his parents forbade him from doing these shameful things, the more he secretly relished the thrill of rebellion, carrying out countless acts behind their backs until Odin's strict father learned the full story, grabbed a chair and smashed it against Odin's leg. Odin's leg snapped instantly. I'll beat you to death, you animal who can't control your urges, you disgraceful bastard, you've shamed your entire family. The police station descended into chaos. I went to see Sasha again. Her eyes were rimmed with red, bloodshot from crying. She showed no remorse upon seeing me, only pure venom in her eyes. Then again, why expect repentance from someone who already took my life in a past existence? Revenge is a dish best served cold. Vesper, just you wait. I shot her a disdainful look, as if someone like her could ever be considered noble. Besides, she can't get out now. University A has decided to expel you. On top of that, you extorted 1 million from me, spread malicious rumors, and stirred up trouble online. That's more than enough to put you away. Enjoy your stay in prison. 3 square meals a day are waiting for you. Sasha let out a scream and started shouting furiously through the bars. The police rushed in and pinned her down. I nodded in satisfaction and turned to leave, but then Sasha's furious roar echoed from behind me. I'll never let you have your way. What does she mean by have my way? As if I'm the one who's done her wrong. Isn't all of this exactly what she deserved? But I never expected Sasha to be so incredibly difficult to handle. Impossible. I thought all the grudges and resentments would finally be over. Yet in court, Sasha unexpectedly claimed to have a mental illness. A schizophrenia diagnosis spared him a decade behind bars. Even if I lived 2 lifetimes, I never imagined she could be so shameless. In the courtroom, Sasha performed a rapid-fire switch between 18 distinct personalities. It stunned everyone present. The final outcome left me deeply disappointed. As we left the courthouse, Sasha shot me a smug, triumphant grin. Told you you couldn't beat me, you little bitch. Next time I see you, I'll kill you and turn your feet into cured meat. Then she looked at me again with that fragile, timid expression. Sorry about that. That's my 7th personality. She's a murderer. Sasha's really getting into this role, isn't she? How ironic. My gaze went blank. After all this fighting, I couldn't even manage to get her sent to prison. A wave of helplessness washed over me, watching her being strapped into restraints and stumbling away as the police led her Off, I suddenly snapped back to reality. Mental illness, as if anyone hasn't dealt with that before in my past life. Wasn't my depression considered a mental illness back then? When I first developed depression and confided in Sasha, she told me it was a mental disorder and then I needed to be admitted to a psychiatric hospital. She then contacted the worst psychiatric facility available and had me sent there directly. I encountered all kinds of mentally ill patients in there, that terrifying shadow. Only deepened my depression later. Sasha got me out to secure her graduate school spot. I'd finally escaped that place. But in the end, I couldn't bear the constant pointing and whispering from my classmates and took my own life. Sasha may have avoided prison, but she's being committed to a psychiatric hospital. The mental institution she ended up in was actually quite reputable, far more comfortable than my previous life, so I immediately went to that shady psychiatric hospital from my past life. We transferred the most difficult psychiatric patients out to another facility. I discussed it with their families, provided financial compensation, and the patients got to move to a better hospital. Everyone was thrilled. They all agreed to the transfer without hesitation. Afterwards, I moved over a dozen psychiatric patients into Sasha's mental institution. They were deliberately placed in the same hospital room. There was a woman who'd lost her child to kidnappers, now cradling a creepy doll while singing lullabies every day. Another patient was a sleepwalker who'd pat people's heads at night, mistaking them for watermelons. The most terrifying one was a genuine schizophrenic whose alternate personality was a butcher. Let's see if Sasha can handle the agony I endured in my past life. Over time, the memories of my previous life began to fade. The anguish from that former existence slowly dissipated. Spring and I became close friends. We went to concert after concert together. Then one day our idol's career imploded, and we cried our eyes out in each other's arms. Next thing we knew, we'd both moved on to standing another singer. It wasn't until 6 months later that I remembered I used to have a best friend named Sasha, so I went to the psychiatric hospital to see her. The doctor told me that person had already passed away a month ago. She had a psychotic episode and jumped from a building one night. Story 2, the apocalypse arrived, and a zombie outbreak ensued. I witnessed with my own eyes the scumbag and the, I assume you mean a scheming woman here, eating my cat and throwing me out the door. After being reborn, I watched from behind the surveillance cameras as the scumbag and the scheming woman fought each other for resources. Meanwhile, in the safe house I had built in advance, I played with my cat, fed the chickens, and took care of the fish. 1. Rebirth. I woke up from a nightmare, my hands instinctively clutching my neck tightly. For a moment, I almost felt as if I was choking myself to death. As I gasped for air, I gradually came to my senses, and my body was soaked in sweat. The smell of blood and decay seemed to still linger around me, and the pain of being bitten by zombies was still vivid in my mind. However, the warmth of the quilt and the soft light outside the window confirmed that it had just been a dream. I turned on my phone, and the date showed January 10th, 2024, a month ago. Weren't we already past the Spring Festival Eve? What was going on? Had I been reborn? As a female college student in the 21st century who had received higher education, I didn't really believe in the concept of rebirth. As if suddenly remembering something, I got up and started searching. Finally, I found my cat, Nini, in its cat bed. I picked up the sleeping cat and burst into tears. Was it really just a dream? This real feeling and the memory of over a month couldn't be explained. Looking at the bustling and lively scenery outside the window, I stayed up all night. The next morning, while I was in a daze, my phone suddenly vibrated. My best friend, Leah, called. Ruby, I lost my job. Woo-woo. I have nowhere to go now. Can I stay at your place for a while? Ruby, why aren't you saying anything? Don't you want me to come? Am I bothering you? Then I won't come. It's okay. I was just in a daze, but I have something to do during the day. Come over tonight. Then I'll come tonight. You're still the most reliable. Ruby, you're such a great friend. After hanging up the phone, I couldn't help but be taken aback. This was exactly the same as the memory in my dream. At this moment, I was finally sure that I had indeed been reborn. In my dream, my best friend moved into my house today, and my fiancé, Jordan, also moved in early on the pretext that we were already engaged. I naively thought that he wanted to strengthen our relationship before marriage. I didn't know that he and my best friend had already been having an affair behind my back. They just wanted to conspire to cheat me out of my money and house. On the morning of the Spring Festival Eve, there was suddenly a loud bang outside. Someone jumped off a building. Strangely enough, this person didn't die. Instead, they got up and, in an abnormal posture, went crazy and pounced on the people beside them, frantically biting and eating their flesh and blood. The person who was bitten was covered in blood. After twitching for a while, they struggled to stand up and, just like the crazy person, grabbed the person who was trying to help and started biting them too. The people around were so scared that they fled in all directions, and chaos ensued. My phone was flooded with messages, all of which were videos of people biting and being bitten. Just like the zombies in the movies, the TV broadcast an emergency notice. Biting incidents had occurred everywhere. Currently, it was known that this was a new type of virus with extremely strong infectivity. Apart from being bitten, the other transmission routes were unknown. Everyone was requested to stay at home in isolation, not go out, and wait for rescue. However, there weren't many supplies at home, only enough for 3 people to eat for a week. 5 days passed. Although we had tried to eat less, the remaining supplies were running out. Coupled with the occasional screams and growls from outside, it made people very anxious. I saw my best friend run over to Jordan and say something. Jordan got up and walked towards Nini. I immediately sensed something was wrong and ran to stop him. But I was kicked to the ground. Jordan grabbed my hair and slapped my face violently. His ferocious expression showed how hard he was hitting me. "It's all your fault, you bitch. I'll kill you. If it weren't for the house and money, I wouldn't even want to look at you. But since you often work out, your meat should be delicious." I was so scared by these words that my eyes widened, and I struggled even harder. During the beating, Leah went to the tool room and got a rope. 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. Despite my efforts to struggle, I was still tied up. I was tied up tightly, and a towel was stuffed in my mouth, and I was thrown aside. After a while, Jordan came out of the room, still holding my cat in his hand. I kept struggling, but it was useless. I couldn't even make a sound. I could only watch helplessly as they ate Nini, and I was powerless to stop them. Although Leah cleaned up quickly, it seemed that the zombies still smelled the blood, and a large number of them gathered and lingered at the door, looking at Leah and Jordan hugging each other on the sofa. I remembered that a friend had euphemistically reminded me before. Suddenly, I realized that these 2 people seemed to have been having an affair for a long time, but I had been too stupid to believe it. The next day, Jordan came towards me with a knife in his hand, wearing a strange smile on his face. He said to me softly, "I'll be gentle." When the knife touched my skin, I finally experienced what it was like to feel the pain of cutting flesh. I felt my flesh gradually separating from my body in pain. All I could think about was the pain. The pain made my whole body tremble. I was in so much pain that I passed out and then woke up in an instant, and I was in too much pain to make a sound. Perhaps the zombies outside the door smelled the strong smell of blood and started pounding on the door continuously. Although the door was very sturdy and the few zombies at the door couldn't break it open, the sound was very loud. "This door won't hold up for too long, right? How about throwing her out to attract the zombies?" Leah said to Jordan in fear. Jordan was also panicked because the loud sound of the door being pounded would also attract more zombies, and then the door might not be able to hold up. So, I was thrown out. At the moment I was thrown out, my heart was as cold as ashes. The zombies smelled the blood and swarmed towards me, pouncing on me and biting me. It turned out that all of this was real. Anger and despair filled my heart. The 2 people I trusted the most would definitely have to pay the price this time. After recognizing the fact that I had been reborn, I had a series of plans in my heart. I admit that I'm not someone with an overly compassionate heart, nor do I have the ability to fight desperately against the zombies in the apocalypse, to save the world from the depths of misery, and to show the glory of human nature. I just want to lie low and survive in the apocalypse and watch the scumbag and the scheming woman get their just desserts. There were still 30 days until the apocalypse arrived. I had to hurry up and prepare things, and I also had to prepare a few big gifts for them. I quickly started formulating my doomsday self-protection plan. Leah was coming to my house at night. Before that, I first arranged the house properly. Without hesitation, I called a local surveillance camera seller and ordered 5 surveillance cameras that supported both battery and power supply. I made an appointment for them to come and install them in the afternoon. Then I called my boss and took a 1-month sick leave. I couldn't waste the morning either. I rummaged through my passbook and important things at home. Everything that could be cashed in had to be cashed in. In the apocalypse, money was the least valuable thing. My parents had died in a car accident 3 months ago. Because the road section was remote and there were no surveillance cameras, the hit-and-run driver still hadn't been found. Jordan accompanied me to handle the funeral arrangements. After learning that my parents had left me a large flat in the city center of B City, which was worth about 15 million yuan, and there was also about 6 million yuan in savings, he said he wanted to start a business and asked me to support him. "Your parents are gone. I'll take care of you for the rest of your life. After we get married, everything I have will be yours. You're the only one in my heart. You're so excellent. I have to work hard to be worthy of you." In order to show that he loved me very much, he even bought a ring and proposed to me. Under his persuasion, I was quickly brainwashed and transferred all my savings to him without hesitation. Later, I found out that he didn't start a business. Instead, he used the money to pay off his gambling debts and continued gambling. He not only lost all the savings but also owed more than 1 million yuan. It wasn't until the morning of the Spring Festival Eve that I answered a debt collection call for Jordan and learned about all of this. That was when we were arguing that we discovered the outbreak of the zombie virus outside. He came to my house not only to have an affair with Leah but also to avoid the debt collectors. After the zombie outbreak, he was even glad that he didn't have to pay off his gambling debts. "I wouldn't be so stupid this time. You owe me, and I'll get it back from you double." I secretly made up my mind. While rummaging through the passbook, I found a folder of my mother's, which actually contained the certificate and key of my grandfather's old house. I Remembered that I had been there a few times when I was a child. It was a villa built on the halfway up a mountain in the suburbs. There was only this one house around, and there was a waterfall beside it. There were only dozens of households in the mountain village at the foot of the mountain a few years ago. This place was planned to be a scenic area. My family didn't agree to the development, so it was separated from the rest. Later, due to financial problems, the renovation of the scenic area had been suspended for more than a year. I was just worried about where to choose as my own safe house. This was the best shelter. I decided to go and check the situation tomorrow and then find someone to urgently renovate and reinforce the old house. There was only a month left until the spring festival, so I had to hurry up and find a construction team. The most important thing was still the issue of supplies. I spent the whole noon at the desk thinking about what I needed and how long it would take to prepare them. By the time the surveillance camera installer came, I had already listed 5 pages of A4 paper. The installer asked me in confusion why I wanted to install 5 surveillance cameras. I could only say that there had been a thief in the house a few days ago, and I didn't feel safe. If I wasn't at ease, I would be afraid to sleep at night. The installer expressed his understanding and told me that the front door could be replaced with a visible password lock, which would be more secure. I slapped my head. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? Master, do you know anyone who can install a password lock? Coincidentally, young lady, I have a colleague who does this. How about I call him and ask him to come and install it now? The installer asked me enthusiastically. That would be great. Thank you, master. After the master installed it, I secretly gave him an extra 500 yuan and hinted to him that the epidemic would definitely get worse after the spring festival, and he should stock up on more supplies. The master responded with a smile, and I didn't know if he would take it to heart. This was all I could do. This time, I just wanted to take care of myself. In the apocalypse, being overly compassionate could cost me my life. I packed up my cat's things and sent Nini to a pet boarding place. I would be very busy recently and didn't have time to take care of it, and it would be more dangerous to leave it at home. Nini licked my face, and I was determined to protect it this time. When I got home, I resisted the urge to put drugs in the food and cooked all the vegetables in the refrigerator. I was waiting for Leah and Jordan. In my memory, they came together. At that time, I naively thought that they had met downstairs by chance, but in fact, they had already been together for a long time. Right at 7 o'clock, Jordan and Leah knocked on the door. Sure enough, the two of them came together. I used all my self-control to suppress my emotions and face them calmly. We just happened to meet downstairs. Seeing my stiff expression, Jordan thought I was angry and explained to me, "Why did you change the password lock? I thought that in the future, you could come in at any time without a key." I said, pretending to be considerate, "If I didn't change the password lock, how could I give you the big gifts? I've already cooked the meal." "Oh, right. I'm going on a business trip to another province tomorrow. I'm not sure how many days it will be." There was not a trace of reluctance in their eyes, and they even seemed a little pleased. During the meal, Jordan brought up the matter of me supporting his business again. I sneered in my heart but pretended to believe him and asked him various questions. "Wife, trust me, after I make money, I will definitely love you well." Jordan took my hand and said, however. Leah across the table couldn't stand it anymore and directly pushed her bowl and went back to the room. I used to think that she left to avoid suspicion, but now it seemed that she was throwing a tantrum. She didn't even try to avoid being seen now. "Jordan, I believe you, but I don't have that much money on me. The deposit is in a 3-year fixed-term deposit, and it will mature in 2 months. There's almost 300,000 yuan in interest. It would be a great loss to withdraw it now. This 300,000 yuan was originally intended to buy you a car. What should we do then? I'm really in a hurry here." Looking at Jordan's face, which was still a bit reluctant to part with the 300,000 yuan in interest, I felt disgusted. After a moment of silence, I spoke first. "I've thought about it carefully. I can't delay your business, but it's a pity to give up the 300,000 yuan. I just suddenly thought that we could mortgage the house. In this way, the money can be obtained in less than half a month." "Really?" Jordan asked in surprise. "Of course. What's mine is yours." "I believe you, but now there's a problem. There's still a mortgage of 2 million yuan on this house. We have to pay off the mortgage first before we can remortgage it, but I don't have any money left and can't come up with this 2 million yuan. If we can raise this 2 million yuan, we can get a loan of 10 million yuan. I don't have 2 million yuan either. Can't you come up with some more?" Jordan started to hesitate when he heard that he also had to pay some money. "You know that I gave all my money to you before. Once this 2 million yuan is paid off, we can get a new loan of 10 million yuan right away. If not, I'll pay you back when the 6 million yuan matures. Let me think about it." Jordan was a bit swayed. I wasn't afraid that he wouldn't take the bait. After all, this deal seemed profitable for him no matter how he looked at it, and he wouldn't expect that I, who had been so dependent on him, would deceive him. Moreover, his gambling debts were quite urgent. At night, Jordan wanted to sleep in the same room as me, but I sent him to the guest room on the pretext that I had to get up early and didn't want to disturb his rest. I was sure that during the time I was away, these two people would definitely stay in my house too. January 12th, 2024 at 5 o'clock in the morning, I left with my luggage. I also moved all the supplies stored at home into the trunk of the car and drove towards the old house in the outskirts after driving for 3 hours. I found the Dakingshan scenic area from memory. There was only one road that could lead to the old house. By car, which was also one of the favorable conditions. Most of the young and strong villagers at the foot of the mountain had gone to the city to work, and most of those left behind were the elderly and children. An old man stopped my car when he saw that I didn't seem to be from around here and asked me what I was doing. I said that I was the project leader of the scenic area and came to inspect it. The project would be restarted in a while, and there might be many people delivering building materials during this period. I gave the villagers a heads up in advance. Indiana, the apocalypse. The scariest thing wasn't the zombies but human nature. I still understood the principle that having something valuable could bring disaster. The old man smiled and told me to go quickly. After all, if the scenic area was completed, they could also turn their homes into farmhouses to make money. I continued driving up the mountain. Finally, I saw the old house on the halfway up the mountain. I remembered that my parents had once said that they planned to live here after retirement to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city. There are many plants climbing on the white walls, and it looks rather desolate from the outside. The yard is approximately 500 square meters in size. The house has 2 above-ground floors and 2 underground floors. The 2 underground floors were specially built in the past to avoid mountain bandits, and the entrance is very concealed. The courtyard wall is about 3 meters high and needs to be made higher. An electric fence should also be installed on the courtyard wall. There are tall trees surrounding the yard, which can serve as a natural barrier. The yard is large, and several warehouses can be built in it to store things. In the backyard, a vegetable plot can be reclaimed, and a pool can be built beside it to raise fish. A chicken coop also needs to be built to raise quail chickens, as other animals make too much noise. From the perspective of the previous life, although zombies have no consciousness and move rather slowly, they are extremely sensitive to sounds and also have a sharp sense of smell. Once they hear a sound or smell the smell of blood, they will rush over like crazy. Soundproof materials should be installed in all rooms, including the chicken coop. In all directions, a circle of mint should also be planted around the yard. The strong smell of mint can interfere with the zombies. I opened my address book and called my father's friend who used to be in the real estate business, Uncle Ethan. It's me, Ruby. I have a small favor to ask. I want to renovate my parents' old house. Could you lend me a small construction team? I feel more at ease with people I know. The reason for turning to Uncle Ethan is not only that I feel at ease with an acquaintance, but also that his construction team is from another province, which eliminates a lot of potential risks. I talked to Uncle Ethan about my requirements, and he said he would send people over tomorrow. I also took the opportunity to remind him that the epidemic is likely to get worse around the spring festival, so he should stock up on more supplies. That's all I can say. Next, I need to start preparing supplies. The supplies definitely can't be directly delivered to the old house. I need to rent a warehouse first to store the supplies and then secretly transport them here. In the apocalypse, there are some things that have to be guarded against. I also need to find a place to live that is convenient for shopping. Fortunately, I have sufficient funds, so I can go all out when buying things. In the afternoon, I drove to the nearest living area, found a real estate agent, and rented a 2-bedroom, 1-living-room apartment with a garage. I went to see it, and the garage is very large and can accommodate a van, which is exactly what I want. The rent is a bit expensive, a total of 5,000 yuan a month, with 1 month's rent as a deposit and 1 month's rent in advance. I paid the rent for 2 months and the deposit, a total of 15,000 yuan. Then I took various documents to the bank to apply for a mortgage loan. I can get a loan of about 10 million yuan by mortgaging my house. I also transferred the money in my passbook to my bank card. The loan approval period is about half a month. 6 million yuan should be enough for these half a month. There is still 1 month left before the zombie outbreak, and 16 million yuan should be enough. When I got back to the rental house and lay on the bed looking at the surveillance footage, sure enough, the two of them started getting affectionate. As soon as I left, Jordan was holding Leah and sitting on the sofa. Jordan, how is it? Did she agree to give you the money? I've taken a fancy to a house recently and it's just right to buy it. Yes, I actually have something to discuss with you. Do you have 2 million yuan? Jordan took Leah's hand and said, where on earth would I get 2 million yuan? Leah pushed Jordan's hand away. Her deposit is in a fixed-term account. If she withdraws it now, she will lose 300,000 yuan. We can buy a car with this 300,000 yuan. It's too much of a loss to withdraw it. Now we can mortgage her house and get 10 million yuan, but we need 2 million yuan to pay off the loan first before we can apply for a new loan. After 2 months, we can still get 6 million yuan. Then I'll break up with her and I can be with my baby forever. As Jordan spoke, his hand reached for Leah's chest. Leah slapped Jordan's hand away. It does sound like a good deal, but I really don't have 2 million yuan. I Heard that you recently took over a project worth 2 million yuan. Jordan, what do you mean? Do you want me to embezzle public funds? Leah's face turned cold. It's just for a short-term transfer. The money will come back soon. Then we can do whatever we want with so much money. I didn't listen to the subsequent argument anymore. Anyway, she will definitely take the bait in the end. The gambling debt won't wait. It turns out that he didn't just deceive me, he also deceived his mistress. The only thing I can't figure out is why Leah treated me like this. I've known her for 10 years, and I always thought we were the best of friends, but I never expected it to turn out like this. I ordered a serving of crayfish takeout. I should enjoy it while I can, because it will be hard to get in the future. After eating, I took a hot bath and nestled comfortably in the bed to sleep. January 13th, 2024. In the morning, I drove to the old house, and the construction team had already arrived. I talked to the project manager in detail about my renovation plan. He looked at me as if I were an alien. Young lady, you're building yourself a prison here. I have no choice. I'm a young girl living alone. It's safer to build it like this. But you can't raise the courtyard wall to 6 meters. It will block too much light. Manager Zach tried his best to persuade me. Chase, just build it according to what I said. Otherwise, I'll be scared and won't be able to sleep at night. Don't worry. I can accept whatever it looks like as long as it's sturdy and safe. It should be able to withstand even a tiger. Build it to the level of a bank vault. The budget doesn't matter, and I need it to be done as soon as possible, as fast as you can. Well, all right, leave it to me. Don't worry, you can come to take over the house in 10 days. After talking to manager Zach, I left. I'll leave the rest to him. I still have a lot of things to prepare. I looked for supermarkets for sale in the nearby living area. Buying things directly is too high profile. Taking over a supermarket and using the excuse of restocking to buy supplies is just right. I found a small supermarket nearby that the owner was eager to sell because he was going back to his hometown to develop during the spring festival. I took over the store along with the goods. The owner also gave me the contact information of the suppliers, which made it even more convenient. I asked the owner to pack all the goods on the shelves in the supermarket before he left. The reason I gave was that I wanted to expand the business and needed to renovate, so I had to put the goods away first. Similarly, I went to look for pharmacies nearby. I majored in pharmacy myself and have a pharmacist's qualification certificate, so I'm qualified to open a pharmacy. I quickly took over a pharmacy at a high price. I also asked the owner to pack all the medicine into boxes one by one. People will always get sick in the apocalypse. Instead of struggling to figure out what medicine is needed, it's better to move all the medicine from the pharmacy back home. There will definitely be a complete variety of medicines. Now, due to the epidemic, many commonly used medicines are not so easy to buy. Anyway, the house and the yard are so big that they can hold all the medicine. Just move the whole pharmacy back home. Now I'm not afraid of buying too much but rather of buying too little. I plan to buy a lot of everything. Anyway, I should have enough money. I know that it takes a long time to develop and produce a vaccine. I must stockpile enough supplies to hold out until humanity wins, so I plan to prepare all the supplies according to the amount for 10 years. Once again, I'm not afraid of buying too much but of buying too little. I drove to the car rental place and rented 2 vans and a refrigerated truck. I gave the owner an extra 500 yuan and asked him to drive one of the vans to the garage I rented and the other to the door of the supermarket. In the evening, I went to have hot pot. Since I was alone, I put a big teddy bear doll opposite me, looking at the people around me eating and chatting. Everything seemed so peaceful and quiet. I really cherished these last peaceful days. When I got home and turned on the surveillance, I found that Jordan and Leah were still arguing. Once I get the money, I'll break up with her, and then we can buy a house and get married. Okay, Jordan continued to coax Leah. This scumbag doesn't want to spend a penny himself and just wants to get something for nothing. I bet that Jordan will definitely call me tomorrow morning. I turned off the screen and took a shower. Tonight is the online shopping New Year's goods festival, and I'm going to start shopping like crazy for January 14th, 2024. After a whole night of shopping, I have already spent hundreds of thousands of yuan for things like rice, flour, and cooking oil. It's better to order them from the supermarket and the suppliers. Buy them just a few days before they are needed so that they can have a longer shelf life, but for some small items, it's more convenient to buy them online. I filled in the address of the rented garage. I'll ask the delivery guy to put the packages in the van. The old house is in a remote location, and it's not convenient for the delivery service. Moreover, I don't want too many people to know the existence of the old house. I sorted out the orders: 50 barrels of laundry detergent, 100 tubes of toothpaste, 100 toothbrushes, 50 bottles of shampoo, 50 tubes of facial cleanser, 100 cases of toilet paper, 100 cases of facial tissues, 50 cases of daily use sanitary napkins, 50 cases of night use sanitary napkins, 30 sets of bed sheets, pillowcases, and 2 pillow covers, 10 thin quilts and 10 thick quilts, 10 pillows, 20 bottles of insecticide, 50 bottles of dishwashing liquid, 10 cases of disposable plates, 10 cases of disposable chopsticks, 2 cases of disposable spoons, clothes, 50 sets of comfortable home clothes, 50 sets of sportswear, 20 sets of cotton padded clothes and down jackets, 50 sets of summer clothes, 100 sets of underwear and panties, 100 pairs of socks, 10 cases of disposable underwear, 20 pairs of comfortable slippers, 10 pairs of sturdy military shoes, 20 pairs of lightweight sports shoes, 20 pairs of cotton shoes, 10 pairs of outdoor shoes, 10 pairs of rain boots. In the end, water resources may be very precious. So I don't want to waste water on washing dishes and clothes. In a situation like the apocalypse, there are usually extreme weather conditions as well, so I also need to buy some things for keeping warm: 5 electric blankets, 10 cases of hand warmers, 5 small sun heaters, 10 electric heaters, 2 high-power binoculars, 5 drones, a Switch game console, hundreds of paper books, learning materials for various industries and occupations, a case of solar charging treasures, and some fitness equipment, such as a stationary bike that can generate electricity, dumbbells, etc., 50 bags of various beans and grains, each weighing 5 kilograms, buy double the amount of soybeans because they have more uses, 100 boxes of tea, 100 boxes of coffee, 100 bottles of honey, 100 cans of milk powder. I'm afraid the protein powder in the pharmacy may not be enough, so I also ordered 50 cans, 20 cases of each kind of vacuum-packed nuts, all kinds of small toys to kill time, such as Lego blocks, jigsaw puzzles. I placed orders for anything that looked interesting. Cat supplies. The shelf life of cat food is generally 2 to 3 years, so I only bought 200 gene, 300 bags of cat litter, 500 cans of various cat food, and bought some random snacks and other cat supplies, maintenance products, and medicine, some vegetable seeds that are easy to grow, fertilizers, nutrient soil, tools, etc., 20 bottles of perfume, which can disrupt the zombie's sense of smell in case of an emergency, because I stayed up late shopping. I slept until the afternoon of the next day. There were more than a dozen missed calls from Jordan on my phone. He really can't wait. Just then, the phone rang. Ruby, what do you mean? Why didn't you answer the phone? Jordan started scolding me before I could say anything. How long will it take for the loan to come through? It can be reapproved soon. I'll pull some strings. It will take at least 7 days to come through. I tried to make the time shorter. Okay, when will you be back? Jordan asked. I'll probably be back in a few days after I finish my work here. Then I'll transfer the money when you come back, Jordan said and hung up the phone. It seems that the scumbag is quite cautious, but it doesn't matter whether he transfers the money or not. I'm not in a hurry. I just want to cause him some trouble before the apocalypse. I drove to the old house to check on the situation and talked to Manager Zach about the specific details. Manager Zach patted his belly and promised that he would definitely make me satisfied. During the last outbreak, I only survived for 6 days. I don't know if there will be power outages and water cutoffs later, but it's better to be prepared, so I still need to do a lot of preparations. 5. January 22nd, 2024. I've been supervising the construction at the old house these days. Finally, it was completed according to my wishes after 8 days. I gave each person a red envelope of 5,000 yuan and asked them to go back to their hometowns and stock up on more supplies for the spring festival. That's all I can do. I'm very satisfied with this home where I will live for a long time in the future. The courtyard wall and the gate are nearly half a meter thick, which gives me a great sense of security, not to mention breaking through this gate by force. It would probably take several explosions to blow it up. 2 small warehouses of dozens of square meters each were built on the left side of the front yard, which can be used to store gasoline barrels, diesel barrels, gasoline generators, and diesel generators. I ordered a 500 kilowatt silent energy storage battery container online and placed it on the right side of the yard. Manager Zach also helped install a hydroelectric generator beside the nearby waterfall. As long as there is water in the waterfall, I will have electricity. The roof is covered with solar panels, which are connected to the electricity storage box in the yard. In this way, even if there is no water in the waterfall, relying on solar energy alone is enough for my daily life. Thinking of the worst case scenario where there is no water and no sun, I also bought a gasoline generator and a diesel generator and placed them in the newly built small warehouse. The warehouse is also soundproofed. I secretly installed 20 night vision surveillance cameras around the house and the yard, including on the way here. The area around the house is monitored in all directions. The house has 2 above-ground floors and 2 underground floors. Every room is soundproofed, except for the room on the 2nd underground floor where I will live. All the things in the other rooms have been cleared out to make room for storing supplies. I chose the 2nd underground floor as my living place because the light won't be seen from the outside when I turn on the lights, and the soundproofing is also better to prevent some unexpected situations. Important supplies will be placed on the 2 underground floors. The 2 above-ground floors will mainly store clothes, daily necessities, books, etc. This ensures that I can still survive even if I have to give up the 2 above-ground floors. A cellar was dug beside the well on the side of the yard to serve as an ice house, which is connected to the first underground floor of the house and is used to store various frozen meats and other products bought later. A garbage disposer was installed in the house to deal with the domestic waste in the future. Since the old house is on the mountain and far from the urban area, the water here is directly pumped from the groundwater. After installing a water purifier, I'm not particularly worried about the outside water being polluted, but I still place 2 huge water storage tanks in a room on the first floor to store some domestic water. A rainwater collector was installed on the roof and is directly connected to one of the water storage tanks. Some commonly used electrical appliances have also been prepared. I'm afraid I won't be able to repair them, so I bought 2 of each kind as spares, because an ice house was built. I only bought 2 refrigerators and 1 freezer and placed them beside the kitchen on the first underground floor. Now I can start purchasing supplies. I've also been shopping online during this period. As long as I see something I need, I buy it. With the final payment for the construction team, the money in my card is almost all spent. Fortunately, the bank called me and informed me that the loan was approved today and asked me to go through the relevant procedures. Just then, Jordan called. I almost forgot about this guy. Ruby, have you finished your work? Why haven't you come back yet? I miss you so much. I almost felt sick to my stomach from his words. There's new work here. I might not be able to come back for a long time. What? Didn't you say you'd be back in a few days? Then what about the loan? I couldn't help but want to laugh when I heard that Jordan was getting anxious. He couldn't even wait for just a few days. Do you have 2 million yuan? If so, I can ask my father's friend at the bank to help me handle it remotely. Then I'll transfer the money to you. You deal with it. Sure enough, he took the bait. Shortly after I hung up the phone, the transfer came through. 2 million yuan was credited to my account. It's still far from what he owes me, and there's more fun to come. I drove to the supermarket, took out the supplier's phone number, and placed an order with the supplier. 100 bags of rice, each weighing 25 kilograms. 100 bags of white flour, each weighing 10 kilograms. 200 barrels of blended oil, each weighing 5 kilograms. 10 cases of olive oil, 20 cases each of various seasonings such as salt, monosodium glutamate, starch, white sugar, pepper powder, chili powder, cumin powder, roasted sesame seeds, soy sauce, oyster sauce, dark soy sauce, cooking wine, sesame oil, fermented soybean paste, hot pot base, etc. 100 cases of instant noodles in various flavors, 50 cases of sausages, 20 cases of self-heating hot pots, 20 cases of self-heating rice, 20 cases of compressed biscuits, 20 cases of dried noodles, 20 cases of meat canned food, 50 cases of fruit canned food, 100 cases of mineral water with 24 bottles per case, 200 barrels of mineral water with 5 L per barrel, 50 cases of beer, 50 cases of baijiu, Chinese liquor. Alcohol is a hard currency. Even if I don't drink it myself, it can be used in many ways. The shelf life of bread is not long, and the inventory in the supermarket is enough. The same goes for the inventory of milk. I thought about what other snacks I liked and also ordered 50 cases of each. With the inventory in the supermarket, I should be able to live comfortably for 10 years. I drove to the garage I rented. The van was already filled with express packages. When the delivery guys called me before, I asked them to open the door themselves and put the packages directly into the van. I transferred 2,000 yuan to each of them, and they were very happy to do me this favor. I drove the van back to the old house. On the way, I filled up the modified fuel tank at a gas station. There have been many vans passing by during this period, and the villagers are already used to it, so it won't arouse suspicion. I pressed the door opening button, and the gate opened automatically. The more I looked at this gate, the more I liked it. I drove the van into the yard, got out of the car, took out the oil pump, and pumped the oil into the oil barrels I had prepared before. Each barrel can hold 200 liters of oil. I prepared 20 gasoline barrels and 20 diesel barrels in the warehouse, and I can pump 1 barrel each time I come back. It should be almost full in the last few days. After doing all these things, I started the arduous task of moving the goods. After 6 hours of moving, I finally moved all the express packages to the living room on the second underground floor. Unpacking these things slowly in the future will also be a kind of fun, without taking a rest. I drove the van back to the supermarket and parked it at the door, waiting for the goods to be delivered tomorrow. I have already agreed with the supplier that they will directly move the goods into the van. If one van can't hold them, they will use 2 vans. Thinking about the goods I'm about to move, I silently shed some bitter tears. It was not easy to get back to the rental house, and I fell asleep without even taking a shower. January 23, 2024, in the morning, I went to the bank and completed the remaining procedures. Looking at the 10 million yuan in my card, I could continue shopping when living alone in the apocalypse. Spiritual entertainment is also quite important. People will definitely have problems if they are in a state of depression for a long time. I went to the computer city and, on the pretext of the company giving out year-end benefits, bought 5 desktop computers, 5 laptops, 10 mobile phones, and 10 tablets. I asked the salesperson to install all kinds of software and standalone games on each device. Next door, I also bought 2 projectors, I found a stall and bought 60 memory cards. With the largest capacity, I asked the guy at the stall to rush to find someone to download things for me. 10 cards were for storing movies, 10 for TV series, 10 for variety shows, 10 for various courses, 10 for documentaries, and 10 for ebooks of novels. I gave the guy a tip of 5,000 yuan for his trouble. He was very happy to take the job and promised to finish it within 3 days. I put these things in the trunk of the car and headed to the next destination. I turned the car into a very secluded alley and walked into a small store. I learned through channels that there is a store here selling self-defense weapons. When renovating the old house before, I accidentally found a shotgun, which also came with 30 bullets. I had played with shooting before and tried the gun, and it still worked. However, this gun can't be used casually because the sound is too loud, which will definitely attract zombies and might be even more dangerous. Now I just need to buy some knives. If there's anything else I like, I can also buy it. I bought 2 machetes. When I saw the bow hanging on the wall, I bought it too and also bought all the arrows in the store. Just as I was about to leave, the store owner stopped me and mysteriously took out a modified nail gun and a steel shotgun from under the counter and asked me if I wanted them. Of course I did. After paying, I put all the things in the trunk. At this moment, I also realized one thing. In the apocalypse, there will definitely be many people with guns and high-tech weapons. These people are much scarier than zombies. Before going home, I deliberately drove around the city several times. After confirming that no one was following me, I drove to the supermarket. The supplier had already put the goods in 2 vans. I put the things I bought today in the passenger seat of the van and drove one of the vans back to the old house. I had to start moving the goods again. If I didn't want to expose the abundant supplies here, I really wouldn't want to go through all this trouble myself. 7 January 28th. 2024. After moving the goods for several days, I finally moved all the things from the supermarket and the pharmacy into the house. There are less than half a month left before the zombie outbreak. I'm afraid the outbreak might come earlier, so I don't dare to rest for too long. In the morning, I went to the other side of the city and found 2 water stations. I ordered 100 large barrels of mineral water from each of them and asked them to deliver the water to the old house at different times. They would unload the water in the yard, and then I would move it in bit by bit, passing by a 4S store of off-road vehicles. I had an idea and went in to order an off-road vehicle and send it for modification. My plan is to stay in the old house all the time, but I also need to be prepared for unexpected situations. 8 January 29th, 2024. I went to the car rental place to pick up the refrigerated truck. Today, I was going to start buying meat and frozen products. I drove to the frozen products wholesale market. There are not only frozen products sold here, but also all kinds of other things. Area A sells dried goods, Area B sells semi-finished frozen foods, Area C sells seafood and aquatic products, Area D sells pork, beef, and mutton, and Area E sells poultry. Entering Area A, I bought 10 cases of each kind of dried vegetables, 20 Jinhua hams, 100 jin of cured meat, 100 cured sausages, and 20 jin of salted fish. In Area B, I bought 20 cases each of all kinds of frozen vegetables, frozen dumplings, frozen noodles, and semi-finished frozen products. In Area C, I only bought a dozen or so cases of frozen fish and shrimp. I don't really like them myself, but I can cook them for Nini. In Area D, I booked 3 pigs, 500 jin of mutton, and 500 jin of beef from the boss and asked him to cut the meat into portions of 10 jin each, vacuum pack them, and I would come to pick them up the day after tomorrow. The boss was willing to take the order after I paid him some extra money. I also found a store selling beef and mutton byproducts and bought 10 cases of each kind in the store. In Area E, I bought 50 whole chickens, 50 bags each of chicken drumsticks and chicken wings, 50 bags of chicken breasts, and 50 bags of chicken feet, all of which were required to be vacuum packed. After loading the car, I mechanically drove back to the old house to unload and move the goods again. But as the days got closer and closer, I was so nervous that I didn't dare to relax at all. Due to overwork, I was feeling dizzy and eventually fell ill. I finally felt a little better after sleeping for 2 days. People are really fragile. Even the slightest change can change everything. 9 January 31st, 2024. After several days of rest, I finally recovered. Jordan had called dozens of times in the past few days, but I didn't answer any of them. I didn't have the energy to deal with him. I called him back, and he picked up the phone immediately. Ruby, what kind of tricks are you playing? Didn't you say the loan would be approved in 7 days? Why hasn't it come through yet? I'm not sure either. I said it would take at least 7 days before. Don't worry, just wait a little longer. It should come through soon. I'm going back to work now. You'd better not be lying to me, or you'll regret it. Before I could listen to the end of his words, I hung up the phone. I ignored his continuous calls and text messages. I changed to a new phone and inserted the newly bought SIM Card, I still had a lot to prepare in the next few days, and there was no need to waste time on such a scumbag. I went to the flower, bird, fish, and insect market and bought more than 20 fish fry and 30 quail chickens. I also bought enough feed and settled them in the backyard. I built a small greenhouse in the vegetable plot so that I can grow vegetables even in winter. I went to the frozen products wholesale market and picked up the meat I had ordered a few days ago, together with the barreled water in the yard. It took me several days to move all these things. February 5th, 2024. I originally planned to buy fresh vegetables and fruits in the last day or two, but I was afraid that the zombie outbreak might come earlier, so in the morning, I went to the agricultural trade wholesale market and bought all kinds of fresh vegetables, fruits, and nuts. I bought more of the ones with a long shelf life and less of the ones with a short shelf life. On the way back, I picked up Nini, the little guy was quite excited about the new environment and just ran around and played. According to the storage tutorials I found online, for all kinds of vegetables and fruits, I set aside the ones to be eaten recently, the rest that could be frozen were put in the freezer, and the ones that couldn't be frozen were sliced and dried in the dehydrator. 11. February 6, 2024. There are 3 days left before the zombie outbreak. I plan to go out one last time, pick up the modified off-road vehicle, and drive to the nearest large shopping mall and supermarket for one last revengeful shopping spree. I bought whatever I liked. When I couldn't carry it anymore, I asked the salesperson to help me send it to the car in the underground garage. When I got to the supermarket, I pushed 2 shopping carts and filled them with all kinds of my favorite snacks, dairy products, etc. When I got home, I checked all the supplies, equipment, and facilities, and everything was fine. I closed the gate and cut off the power supply to the gate. Without reconnecting the electricity, the gate couldn't be opened. I covered the off-road vehicle with branches. Even if someone used a drone to look, they wouldn't be able to tell that there was a vehicle there. There are trees all around the yard. As long as people don't go up the mountain, they can't see the house from the foot of the mountain. Looking at the results of my nearly a month's hard work, I felt a great sense of security. If my parents were still alive, living like this would also be very happy. Right, my solitary life in the apocalypse officially began. In the evening, I cooked 3 dishes and 1 soup for myself and also cooked a fish for Nini. It can be regarded as celebrating that I finally have the confidence to survive in the apocalypse. 12. February 7th, 2024. This was the most soundly I had slept since I was reborn. I relaxed rarely, holding a bag of potato chips. I turned on the surveillance screen. Jordan was arguing with Leah. You said you'd pay me back the money in 10 days. Where is it? I can't get through to that bitch's phone. I called her company, and they said she's on vacation. She didn't go on a business trip at all. This is all a trap she set up. Damn it. Don't let me catch her. How am I going to fill this hole of 2 million yuan? Jordan, don't push me. What? Do you still want to tell that thing? Don't forget, you were there too. Do you think you'll be better off if she finds out about it? I put down the potato chips in my hand. What exactly were they talking about? But then both of them fell silent and didn't say anything more. So boring. I took out my phone and sent a text message to Leah's leader. After a while, I saw Leah answering the phone, and her face turned very pale. What should I do? The leader wants me to go to the company. It seems that he has found out. I don't want to go to jail. Jordan sat on the bed in silence. What do you mean? You asked me to take out the money, and now you're just sitting there doing nothing. Jordan, if I go to jail, you won't be able to get away with it either. Is the charge of hit and run enough to send you to jail with me? My mind seemed to be struck by lightning, combining with what they just said. Could it be that the hit and run they were talking about had something to do with my parents? I didn't listen to what they said next. My mind was full of this thought. When I came to my senses and looked at the screen again, the two of them started borrowing money on various platforms. They borrowed from 6 or 7 platforms and finally managed to scrape together 2 million yuan to fill the gap. Damn it, I must find her and kill her, Jordan said viciously. I know Jordan wasn't joking. He really had the intention of killing me. However, he can't find me now. Looking at the sorry state of the two of them, I felt a little better. In the apocalypse, money is not very useful, but being able to cause them more trouble is also a source of pleasure. 13. February 8th, 2024. Relying on my memory, I used a voice changer to change my voice into a male voice and called the person who had chased after Jordan for debt in my previous life. I informed him of Jordan's address. Without my deposit, Jordan had already owed the gambling debt for more than a month, and the debt collectors were looking for him all over the world. I fried a pot of crispy pork strips in the air fryer. While eating, I stared at the surveillance screen. Sure enough, after a while, someone went to knock on the door. Leah wasn't on guard and opened the door directly. As a result, she was so scared by the several big, burly, and fierce-looking men outside the door that she took 2 steps back. The leading man stepped forward and blocked the door, and the other men behind him stepped forward and snatched Leah's phone. Where's Jordan? The leading man looked in the direction of the bathroom where the sound of water was coming from. Without waiting for Leah to answer, he walked straight towards the bathroom and opened The door, I couldn't see at all what kind of scene was inside. When I installed the surveillance cameras before, I didn't expect such an exciting scene to happen in the bathroom. After a burst of screams and groans, the man dragged Jordan, who was in disheveled clothes, out of the bathroom. There were bruises on Jordan's face, and the corner of his mouth was still red. He was probably beaten until he bled. When Leah saw Jordan like this, she burst into tears directly, but the lackey standing next to her looked at her impatiently and scratched his ear, telling her to shut up. The man put Jordan down, and Jordan immediately knelt down and begged the man to give him a few more days. Chase, please give me a few more days. My fiancée has money. I'll ask her to give the money. Just give me some time. Chase looked at him disdainfully and pointed at Leah. Your fiancée, isn't she right here? After saying that, he kicked Jordan. It's not her. My fiancée is on a business trip. She'll be back in a few days. No, I'll make her come back right away. Right away. Are you trying to fool me? It's true, Chase. This house belongs to her. Chase looked around the house. Well, it makes sense. You couldn't afford to live in this house anyway. I'll give you 3 more days. If I don't see the money by the 2nd day of the Lunar New Year, you can figure out the consequences yourself. Chase tapped Jordan's face with the butterfly knife he was playing with in his hand. He told his lackeys to search Jordan and Leah and take away their phones, cash, and ID cards. I'm taking the ID cards. Don't even think about running away. Since we found you, there's no way we'll let you run away a second time. Chase left with his lackeys. Leah rushed to get the first aid kit to disinfect and bandage Jordan's wounds. Jordan went into the house and took out his spare phone, which he had used to contact Leah before. That's why I couldn't find anything when I checked his phone each time. Leah was still crying. Maybe the sound of her crying annoyed Jordan, or perhaps Jordan's emotions were close to breaking down. Stop fucking crying, Jordan shouted at Leah with his veins bulging. He's really only brave when bullying those weaker than him. Where was this kind of spirit when he was kneeling down and begging for mercy just now? Leah felt even more wronged and actually reached out to snatch Jordan's phone to call the police. Are you done? Do you want to send me to jail by calling the police? Jordan swung his arm wide and slapped Leah across the face. Leah couldn't withstand the blow and was directly knocked to the ground. She looked at Jordan in disbelief. Jordan seemed to realize something and quickly squatted down to hug Leah and kept apologizing. The change in his attitude was really astonishing. Leah was easy to appease. With a few soft words, she was soon pacified. But the atmosphere between the two of them was still a bit awkward. Jordan picked up the phone again, just as he was about to make a call. He seemed to remember something and rushed into the house to search for something. After half an hour of searching, he found nothing. Damn it, that bitch Ruby. It turns out she had planned this long ago. Jordan clenched his fists, punched the bed, and smashed everything in the room that he could. He didn't stop venting until there was nothing left to break. Leah hid in another bedroom. Only then did she not dare to go out and provoke him. 14, February 9th, 2024, New Year's Eve. The first day of the apocalypse. What was supposed to come still came. I was adjusting the binoculars on the 2nd floor and looking at the village at the foot of the mountain. Some young people had come back for the new year. Every household was decorated with lanterns and festoons, and it was very lively. My phone was also filled with news about the spring festival travel rush and people returning home, until a video was forwarded on various apps, and in moments, a car speeding by hit a woman in the middle of the road and sent her flying. Then the woman got up in a twisted posture, covered in blood, and bit a passerby who was going to rescue her. The passerby then began to twitch. A minute later, he also got up and rushed towards the crowd. Screams rang out one after another. Suddenly, a bloody hand knocked away the phone that was recording, and the video ended there. In the following hour, more and more similar videos appeared. The TV also broadcast the same emergency notice as before. In fact, everyone knew that things had happened too suddenly and there was no time to deal with them. Word of mouth spread quickly, and it was simply out of control. Looking at our compatriots abroad, they were also posting about the same situation online. It seemed that this was a global disaster. Fortunately, it was the spring festival, and most people were at home. Everyone also bought some New Year's goods, so they could hold on for a while. I continued to observe the situation at the foot of the mountain with the binoculars. It seemed that everyone had seen the news, and every household had their doors tightly closed. I still hadn't seen any zombies. I turned on the surveillance screen and saw Jordan pacing back and forth anxiously in the living room, but Leah was nowhere to be seen. After a while, Leah came back carrying some things. It turned out that he had made Leah go out to grab supplies. I wonder what method he used to force her out. Why did you only bring back so little? Jordan rummaged through the things Leah had brought back and scolded her. It looked like there were a few packs of instant noodles and a few bags of bread. Everyone outside has gone crazy. There are a lot of monsters. I managed to snatch these from an old lady downstairs. It was so scary. The monsters were blocking the entrance of the apartment building. I couldn't go down any further. Jordan didn't say anything more. What a scumbag and a beast. He even had the nerve to snatch supplies from an old lady. Neither of these 2 people can cook. Before I left, I moved away all the food, so during this period, they either ordered takeout or ate out, and there was no food left at home. The food they have now is only enough for them to live frugally for a few days. I turned off the screen, got up, and prepared my own meal. Today is New Year's Eve. According to the custom, I should make dumplings. I took out the required ingredients from the refrigerator and prepared them. I mixed the filling, kneaded the dough, rolled out the wrappers, and made the dumplings. I wrapped a coin in one of the dumplings, hoping that whoever ate it would have good luck. I remember that when I was a child, during the spring festival, I could always eat the dumpling with a coin in it. Later, when I grew up, I realized that my mother had made a mark on the dumpling and picked the marked dumpling for me. I separated the dumplings that I would eat later, and put the rest in the freezer. I could eat them whenever I wanted. Dumplings made by myself are always better than the frozen ones. I also stir-fried 2 dishes and stewed a fish. I also cooked some shrimp for Nini, the New Year's Eve dinner for me, and the cat was ready to celebrate surviving the disaster and to live well. I opened a bottle of wine. I indulged a bit while there was still no danger around. Maybe I was also feeling depressed, so I drank a lot, looking at the family photo in my phone. Countless grievances welled up. It would be so great if my parents were still alive. Since I was reborn, there has always been a string in my heart that was tightened, and I didn't dare to relax for a moment. Now, taking advantage of the alcohol, I cried and vented my emotions. I will face the new life well tomorrow at February 10th, 2024, the second day of the apocalypse. I drank too much and was only awakened by Nini licking me in the afternoon. I went upstairs to observe the situation at the foot of the mountain. Roadblocks had been set up at the entrance of the village at some point. The doors of every household had also been reinforced, and I didn't see anyone coming out on the road. This also provides a certain degree of security for me. I went downstairs and nestled on the sofa to browse my phone. Many apps had servers that crashed to varying degrees because there was no one to maintain them. It took a long time to refresh Weibo before I could see a few new messages, all of which were distress signals, saying that they didn't have supplies or were trapped somewhere and needed rescue. In fact, on the day I was reborn, I posted about this zombie outbreak on the internet and told everyone to stock up on supplies, but no one believed me. Yesterday, my post was brought to the top, and people below were all accusing me of not saying it earlier, and some people were asking me how I knew about it. One message caught my attention. I know who you are. If you need help, you can call me. The number is 138-6960, and the last 4 digits are your house number. I added his WeChat account according to the phone number he left. He accepted. Who are you? I typed with confusion. Brandon. I don't know if you still remember, but we played together when we were kids. I don't seem to have heard this name in my memory. At Dutching Mountain, when we were kids, we played House on the Mountain. I was the dad and you were the mom. He probably saw that I hadn't replied for a long time and sent another message. Well, I seem to have a bit of an impression of that. It seemed to be a little boy I met when I went to my grandfather's house when I was a child. Everyone said he was a bastard without parents and didn't want to play with him, and when I first went to play in the back mountain of my grandfather's house, I saw a very delicate-looking little boy standing beside the waterfall, so I went over and pulled him to play house. Thinking of these things, I felt so ashamed that I wanted to cover my face. I was so fond of good looks when I was a child. Why did I end up with someone like Jordan when I grew up? You don't have to be afraid. I have no ill intentions. I don't know if you'll believe me when I say this, but I have some memories about this zombie outbreak, so when I saw your post online, I checked your information and found that I seemed to know you. Checked my information. Didn't I post anonymously? When I heard him say that he had some memories, could it be that he was reborn like me? This kind of anonymity is useless to some professionals, but it should be okay. Who would go out of their way to check someone's information for no reason? I suddenly thought that someone might check the IP address. Fortunately, I posted the message at home in the city center at that time. If they check the address, they should go there. Since you posted that message, you should have stocked up enough supplies. Pay attention to protecting yourself. In a situation like this, people are often scarier than zombies. I don't know if it's because I want to communicate with someone while living alone in the apocalypse or because I trust him for some inexplicable reason, but we chatted casually. We didn't mention our own situations. We just knew that we were both still relatively safe for now. Maybe we just wanted someone to talk to. February 11th, 2024, the third day of the apocalypse. When I woke up in the morning, I used a secondary account to send a message in the community group. Dear neighbors, do you need any supplies? As far as I can tell, I can't go back home either. I still have a lot of food and some daily necessities at home. If you need them, you can go and get them. Room 801, Building 6. The password is 906908. Immediately, some neighbors in the same building wanted to form a team to go to my house to look for supplies. I stopped looking at the phone messages and made a simple breakfast for myself. I cooked red date oatmeal porridge, fried 2 poached eggs, and ate them with the crispy cucumber pickles that I had pickled overnight yesterday. Halfway through eating, I heard some movement from the surveillance on the Computer. I picked up my bowl and ran to the computer. Several neighbors were standing at the door with all kinds of self-defense weapons. Some of them looked very familiar, and there was also the security guard guy downstairs. The few of them looked at Jordan and Leah. Are you also here to look for supplies? The security guard guy spoke first and asked, look for what supplies? This is my house. How did you get in? Please leave. Seeing that these people in front of him were holding weapons like sticks and kitchen knives, Jordan didn't dare to act rashly. Your house. Didn't the owner of this house go out? Young man, this isn't very honest of you. The owner of the house said she wanted to share the supplies, and you want to keep them all for yourself. An older uncle pointed at Jordan's nose and said, the owner, damn it, it's that bitch Ruby's doing again. This is my house. You guys leave right away. I don't have any supplies here either. I don't need the food. Can you give me that? Cold medicine on the table. My child has a high fever, and there's no medicine now. What should I do? One of them walked towards the table and wanted to take the medicine on the table. In a situation like this, even a little bit of supplies is extremely precious. A person like Jordan definitely wouldn't give it away. Jordan stopped that person and pushed him back when the others saw that Jordan had started a fight. They all rushed forward and beat Jordan up. We're all here looking for supplies. Why do you want to keep them all for yourself? Jordan's injuries from being beaten by the debt collectors a few days ago hadn't fully healed, and now he was beaten up pretty badly again. Leah wanted to stop them from hitting Jordan, but she didn't dare to step forward. Instead, she turned around and went to the kitchen to tightly protect the food. The security guard guy walked towards Leah, snatched the few packs of instant noodles that she was protecting from under her, grabbed Leah, and asked, where did you hide all the food? The owner of the house said there was a lot of food. Why are there only these few packs of instant noodles left? Leah was in so much pain that she couldn't speak. She could only keep shaking her head. The security guard guy threw her aside and started searching. He took away all the food he could find. The others did the same. They took away all the food and usable items they could find. 17. February 12th, 2024. The fourth day of the apocalypse. They had no more food left. Jordan was forcing Leah to go out and look for supplies. When Leah refused, the two of them started fighting. It's a bit of a stretch to call it a fight. It was more like Jordan unilaterally abusing and hitting Leah. If you don't go out and look for supplies, then you can become the supplies yourself, Jordan said viciously as he choked Leah's neck. Leah struggled and her hand grabbed the ashtray next to her. She smashed it hard on Jordan's head. Jordan was dazed from the blow, taking advantage of this opportunity. Leah kept smashing his head with the ashtray until he lost consciousness and fell down. Leah slumped down against the wall and breathed heavily. Seeing that Leah had taken down Jordan, she was really a tough person. I had always wanted to ask her a question. I turned on the voice function of the surveillance. Leah, I have a question for you. If you answer me, I'll send you supplies. Ruby, you said you have supplies. Where are you? I was wrong before. I was just muddle-headed for a moment. Save me. I'll tell you whatever you want to know as long as you save me. Why did you treat me like this? I was so good to you. Why did you betray me and hurt me behind my back? When Leah heard my accusation, she realized that I wasn't going to save her. She decided to just give up and speak her mind. Good to me. Do you mean when you were patronizing me? Why do you get to be like a young lady? Well, I can only be your little follower, just because your parents are rich and mine don't care about me. I want to take everything away from you. All of this should be mine. I always regarded you as my best friend. Why would you think like this? It turns out that jealousy can really corrupt any kind of relationship. Heh, best friend. How ironic. Before Leah could finish her words, Jordan, who had woken up, picked up a small knife and stabbed it into her neck from behind. Blood spurted out. Leah was still saying something. By reading her lips, it seemed she was saying, he killed your uncle and aunt. Jordan kept stabbing in and out. After about 10 times, Leah completely went limp and fell down. The zombies outside the door must have smelled the blood. I heard the thumping sound of them hitting the door. I was so shocked by what had just happened that I didn't dare to breathe. This was the first time I had faced a murder scene directly, which put a great psychological burden on me. Thinking about what Leah had said just now, it turned out that the thing they were talking about was indeed this. He really was the one who ran over my parents, coupled with the fact that in my previous life, he killed me, deceived me out of my money, and had an affair with the person I thought was my best friend behind my back. One thing after another flashed through my mind, and the accumulated grievances and anger instantly turned into a deeper hatred. I hated this scumbag for not being punished by heaven, hated him for not being eaten by the zombies, and hated myself for not being able to deal with him with my own hands. After Jordan dealt with Leah, he started searching the house. I knew he was looking for the surveillance cameras. I watched as he found the surveillance cameras one by one and turned off the screens. I clicked on the remote unlocking function of the password lock, but found it was useless. There was only the last surveillance camera in the living room left. Jordan stood in front of it, raised his hand, and held the battery from the password lock between his fingers. Then he turned around and left. Without turning off this surveillance camera, after a while, he brought a small pot over. There was a pot of meat soup in it, with minced meat floating on the surface. He tasted it unhurriedly, as if it were some delicious delicacy. There shouldn't be any meat left at home. When I thought about what it might be, I quickly ran to the bathroom and vomited into the toilet. When I recovered, he had already finished eating. He took out his phone and searched for something, then he held the phone close to the surveillance camera and played a video. The video recorded how he crashed into my parents' car, how he watched my parents lose their breath, and how he set the car on fire to create the feint of spontaneous combustion. I felt cold all over and couldn't stop crying. "Jordan, you will die a miserable death." Jordan on the other side of the surveillance camera raised a strange smile at the corner of his mouth. "Wait for me." Then the screen went black. I closed the laptop. Those two simple words made the hair on my body stand on end. I slumped in front of the computer. It took me 5 minutes to recover. I suddenly stood up and started checking the safety facilities of the entire old house. After taking stock of the supplies again, I felt a little better, but thinking that if he came, I could deal with him with my own hands. I wasn't as scared anymore. It usually takes 3 hours to drive from his location to the old house, and in this situation, there is a 99% chance that he won't be able to get here. Just the zombies wandering outside the door are not easy to deal with. Although I said that, I was still a bit restless. February 13th, 2024, the 5th day of the apocalypse. Life has to go on. The water and electricity supplies have been paralyzed. Fortunately, I had made sufficient preparations before, so my life is still going on as normal. I was browsing my phone. In the past 2 days, the network signal has been intermittent, and I could hardly refresh any new messages. My chat with Brandon also stopped at noon yesterday. I don't know if it's because of the poor network or if he had an accident. Anyway, I have to keep living my own life. I hugged the cat and kissed it for a while, which gave me some sense of happiness. I've been watching teaching videos on growing crops these past 2 days, and it's time to start practicing. The shed in the backyard has a suitable temperature and is just right. I did everything according to what was taught in the video, step by step. As for what it will grow into, I'll just leave it to fate. I don't know why, but my right eyelid has been twitching since this morning. This is not a good sign. Suddenly, I heard the sound of a car in the distance. My heart tightened, and I quickly went upstairs to look through the binoculars. A car had already crashed through the roadblock at the entrance of the village and was driving up the mountain. When I looked at the person in the driver's seat, I was stunned. It was Jordan. He really came. I picked up the shotgun that I had always kept by my side and loaded the bullets. After getting ready, I heard the car stop at my door. "Wife, did you do all this to give me a surprise? Open the door and let your husband in." I saw from the surveillance camera at the door that Jordan was covered in blood and was knocking on the door. "Why did you kill my parents? Why did you treat me like this? You're a murderer. Wife, you're not being good. Don't ask questions that you shouldn't. Let your husband in quickly. Your husband forgives you for being disobedient." Suddenly, a sharp scream came from the foot of the mountain. I quickly looked through the binoculars and saw that the zombies had entered the village and rushed into the villagers' yards. "You actually led the zombies here." I knew something felt off. The sound of his car was too loud. "This is a gift for you, wife. Don't you like it?" The smile on Jordan's pale face was extremely eerie. I really couldn't stand it anymore. I felt physically uncomfortable. Seeing that I didn't say anything more, Jordan climbed onto the car and started climbing up the courtyard wall from the roof. I stood at the window on the second floor and watched him slowly climb up through the surveillance camera until he touched the electric fence. I thought the electric fence could stop him at first. One of his hands retracted due to the electric shock, but then he just forced himself to climb up, regardless of the fact that his hand was already charred black from the electricity. "Wife, wait for me. I'll be there soon." It made my scalp tingle. Was this still a human being? To be honest, I was a bit panicked. In my panic, I raised the gun and fired at him, but I missed. One of his feet was almost over the wall. Just as I was about to fire again, an arrow shot into his head from the side, and he fell down uncontrollably. I raised the gun again and fired several more shots at his fallen body. Only when I saw that he was completely out of breath did I heave a sigh of relief. I looked in the direction from which the arrow had come, and a man turned around and was about to leave. Many zombies in the distance had heard the gunshots just now and were running up the mountain. I called out to him and asked him to come in and take shelter first. The zombies were already very close. "Ruby, do you know what it means to let me in?" The man's voice was very pleasant. What could I mean? Considering that he had saved my life, I couldn't just watch him go to his death. I quickly went downstairs and turned off the electric fence, then threw down a rope for him to climb up. While he was pulling himself up along the rope, the zombies could already reach his feet. He stepped on the head of a zombie, used it as leverage to jump up to a place where the zombies couldn't reach, and then climbed in along the rope. Now I was finally relieved. As long as he wasn't as crazy as Jordan, he shouldn't pose any threat. "My name is Brandon," the man Introduced himself. So it's you. Brendan looked like a doll when he was a child. Now that he has grown up, he has a very masculine charm, giving the impression of a sunny and handsome sports student. I've been living at the foot of the mountain. I didn't dare to tell you because I was afraid you'd think I had ulterior motives. I just saw a car heading straight up the mountain and was worried that you were in danger, so I came. Brendan explained without daring to look at me. Thank you. I could feel his kindness, which was worlds apart from the false kindness that a scumbag like Jordan put on. I went up to the second floor to check the situation outside. Jordan's body was being torn apart by the zombies he had attracted. Was this what they call reaping what you sow? I didn't feel as satisfied as I had imagined, and the situation at the foot of the mountain worried me even more. The old man who had stopped my car last time was being grabbed by the arm by the zombies that had rushed in. He turned around and ran towards the house, but the door was shut tightly by the people inside. Just like that, the old man was eaten by the zombies outside. Guilt and self-blame filled my heart. If it weren't for me, those villagers wouldn't have gone through this. Brendan seemed to sense my emotional change. Actually, you don't have to blame yourself. The zombies would have come sooner or later. Even if someone is to blame, it should be that man just now. It has nothing to do with you, so don't feel guilty. His gentle voice rang in my ears. Before I knew it, he had already stood beside me. I looked at Brendan. Maybe my gaze was too intense. As the tips of his ears turned red, his words did comfort me a little. I pulled myself together and said, "It seems that we won't be able to get out for a while. Looking at the situation outside, you can stay here." All the other rooms were used to store supplies, so he could only sleep on the sofa. When Nini saw a stranger coming, it came over and rubbed against his leg. Brendan picked up Nini and stroked its fur. Nini rubbed its little head against his face comfortably. There's really no comparison, no harm. Jordan used to just kick Nini away. There are enough supplies in the house for several people to live for many years, and one more mouth to feed won't make a difference. When I bought clothes, I prepared various sizes for myself, in case my body shape changed in the apocalypse, but there's really nothing I can do about the shoes. In the evening, to thank him, or maybe because I had finally avenged my parents and myself, I cooked a big table of dishes and opened several bottles of wine. He didn't drink, he just watched me drink by myself. I don't know why, but I have an inexplicable sense of trust in him. February 14th, 2024, the 5th day of the apocalypse. I don't know how I got back to my room. All I know is that I had a nightmare and kept dreaming of the scene of being torn apart by zombies in my previous life, until the face of the zombie that bit me for the last time turned into Jordan's face, with an eerie smile on his pale and blue face. I was so scared that I sat up abruptly in bed. After having the nightmare for so long, the bedsheet was already soaked with sweat. WC, why is this guy still torturing me even after he's dead? I got up and prepared to go upstairs to get a new bedsheet. As soon as I went out, I was startled by Brendan standing at the door. "What are you doing? You scared me. I heard you scream and came over." I didn't dare to go in, so I just waited here. There was a look of worry on Brendan's face. It's okay, I just had a nightmare. By the way, I've made breakfast. Come and eat later. I'll go and plant the crops. I checked this morning, and the zombies are still wandering outside the door, but they pose no threat, so don't worry." He walked into the kitchen and brought out 2 bowls of freshly cooked chicken soup noodles. I have to say, the noodles you made are quite delicious. After eating, he went to the backyard to plant the crops. Yesterday, after he took a look around, he said that the way I planted the vegetables was wrong. I'm not about it. I've never planted crops before anyway. The situation at the foot of the mountain has also stabilized a lot. There are occasionally a few zombies wandering on the village road. Many villagers still haven't left their houses and have managed to avoid the zombies. It's just that we have to be careful about everything in the future and not make too much noise. There are many zombies wandering outside my yard, but it doesn't matter. The yard is sturdy, so I don't have to worry about the zombies getting in and looking at it from another perspective. These zombies can also indirectly protect me and block some people who want to come up the mountain. After checking the facilities again and finding that there were no problems, I went back upstairs and looked at the person who was working hard in the backyard. So far, Brandon is really great. With him around, I basically don't have to do anything. May 23rd, 2024. Few months have passed. Some of the vegetables that Brendan planted have already matured as they grew quickly, and the quail chickens in the chicken coop are laying eggs every day. We use a light to check. The fertilized eggs are continued to be incubated, and the infertile eggs are eaten. Our little life is really quite carefree. Living with Brendan is very harmonious. He basically takes care of all the work. He even plays with the cat. All I do every day is exercise, read books, and play games. He is also very skillful with his hands. He used my clothes to make shoes for himself. I was stunned when I saw it for the first time. I asked him why he knew how to do so many things. He said that when he was a child, no one took care of him, so he had to do everything by himself. I felt a bit sorry for him, but he said it was nothing. It was all in the past, and he was very happy now. Having such a good-looking guy around me every day, sometimes I really want to pounce on him, but I've always been Afraid of what would happen if I got pregnant at this time. Sometimes, even when the atmosphere is right, I don't dare to take the next step. Until today, when I was taking stock of the supplies, I saw the 2 boxes of condoms that I brought back from the pharmacy. I was stunned. How could I have forgotten about these? I've been abstaining from sex for so long because of this. I went to the field and pulled out some spinach, pak choi, and coriander. Then I went to the ice storage and took some meat, rolls, shrimp paste, fish balls, and other hot pot ingredients. Tonight, I must get Brandon drunk. If I can't get him drunk, at least the atmosphere has to be right. I'll also pick a movie with some intimate content and pull him to watch it with me after dinner. I don't believe I can't win him over. Brandon, let's have hot pot for dinner tonight. I've prepared the dishes. I called back Brandon, who was still exercising. Let me do it. You go and take a rest. Brandon came downstairs and took the dishes that I was washing from my hands. I was chased to the living room, which was just right for me to pick a movie to watch for a while. After a while, Brandon was ready and called me to have dinner. The smell of the beef tallow spicy hot pot filled the air, and he even thoughtfully prepared the dipping sauce for me. I took out the prepared baijiu and poured 2 glasses, pushing one in front of him. I don't know how to drink. Brandon looked at the glass of wine and said, just drink a little too. Relax, it's not good for your body to be always tense. Despite my repeated attempts to persuade him to drink, he still didn't drink. He's really a tough nut to crack. It's making me so angry. I was so angry that I downed the glass of baijiu in one gulp. The after effects kicked in, and my head felt dizzy. Ignoring the fact that I hadn't finished dinner yet, I pulled Brandon and wanted to watch the movie. Brandon couldn't resist me and obediently sat beside me to watch the movie with me, but the more he watched, the redder his face became, looking at the blush on his face. I giggled. You're so good looking. I smiled stupidly and pinched his face. Ruby, stop messing around. You've had too much to drink. Although Brandon said that, he didn't pull my hand away. I saw an opportunity and turned around to sit on his lap, looking at him face to face. His face turned even redder, and he didn't dare to look me in the eye. I turned his face straight. Look at me. Am I good looking? Good. Before he could finish, I held his face and directly leaned in to kiss him. Just as I was about to take things further, he pushed me away. He set me upright and said to me seriously, I can't put you at any risk now. This kind of situation isn't suitable for this. What if you get pregnant? You were worried about this, so that's why you refused before too. Yeah, hearing this, I was quite happy. I had thought before that he wasn't interested in me and that's why he refused me. I pulled him to the place where the supplies were stored and showed him those 2 boxes of things. I saw that expression on his face for the first time. It's hard to describe. Before I could react, he had already picked me up in his arms and walked towards the house. He placed me on the bed, leaned over, and pressed his face close to mine. Ruby, have you had too much to drink? I'm perfectly sober. Although I had prepared myself mentally, it was inevitable that I was a bit scared on the first time. Thankfully, he gently kissed my body. Gradually, I got used to this kind of contact, and then he made further moves. We stayed up all night. March 2nd, 2027. It's been 3 years and 23 days since the apocalypse began. So much time has passed, and there's been no news from the outside world. The weather has started to become extreme. The blizzard that lasted for a whole month has finally ended. Since having a more intimate relationship with Brandon, our life has become more fulfilling. The vegetables in the field are growing very well under Brandon's care, and the number of quail chickens is more than double what it used to be. After taking stock of the supplies, not only have they not decreased, but there are even more. An air raid siren that resounded through the sky and earth suddenly went off, startling both of us. We quickly ran to the 2nd floor to observe the situation. What we saw was even more terrifying. All the zombies were walking in one direction. Brandon put down the binoculars. They're probably trying to eliminate the zombies in a concentrated way. Epilogue, March 10th, 2027. The air raid siren sounded for a full 9 days. After 9 days, there were several loud booms, and several mushroom clouds rose into the sky in the distance. March 20th, 2027. There have been the sounds of gunfire and cannons coming from the distance in recent days. A helicopter flew over the old house, and the broadcast on the helicopter played on a loop. Dear survivors, the government hasn't given up. Currently, the zombies have been basically eliminated, and the development of the vaccine is in its final stage. Please, survivors in need, tie a noticeable red cloth in a conspicuous place, and we will distribute supplies. Once all the zombies are eliminated, let's unite and rebuild our homeland. Brandon and I discussed it and decided not to tie the red cloth. Our current situation doesn't require any supplies, so we'll leave them for those in need. May 20th, 2027. The zombies have all been eliminated, and the vaccine has been successfully developed. After getting vaccinated, you can enter the newly built survivor base in the east of the city. Please wait in place to get vaccinated, or go to the base to get vaccinated on your own. When going on your own, please be careful of any remaining zombies and pay attention to your safety. The helicopter flew over again a few days later. Several people wearing protective suits came to the front of the yard and knocked on the door. "Hello, survivors. We were sent by the government to vaccinate the survivors outside. Please cooperate with us." We connected the electricity to the gate and opened it for the first time in several years after Brendan and I got vaccinated. The staff member continued, "You can go to the base after getting vaccinated." Brendan and I looked at each other and smiled. We saw the answer in each other's eyes. "We won't go for now. It's quite nice to live here. If there's a need, we'll do our best to cooperate." Was it really a dream? But this real feeling and the memory of more than a month can't be explained. Before leaving, the staff member called Brandon over, and the two of them whispered something. When Brandon came back, I kept asking him what they had said, but he wouldn't say a word. I pestered him to tell me, but he just wouldn't. Finally, he had no choice but to tell me in my ear. My face immediately turned burning hot and red. "Let's get married." His voice was soft, but it was solemn and sincere. I looked up at him, and he looked at me nervously. I stepped forward and hugged his slightly stiff body, which was tense with nervousness. I stood on tiptoe and also whispered in his ear, "Okay."